Commissioner Johnson?
Present.
Commissioner Burke?
Here.
Commissioner Amar?
Here.
Commissioner Jeremy? How are we going to be able to tell that by Zoom?
Yeah.
Yes?
You should be able to, myself and Steve, you should be able to do that.
Okay.
Why don't we give that a test?
Commissioner Jeremy, can you please announce so you can hear this message?
There he is.
Commissioner Jeremy, can you confirm that you can hear this message?
Commissioner Amon, you're going to need to unmute yourself.
Okay. Can do that. Thanks to the masks. Are we good tech-wise?
No.
Okay. While we're waiting to resolve this, let me just interject a little bit that this is our first in-person and virtual Design Review Historic Preservation Commission meeting, so please bear with us from the technology standpoint. This new hybrid format still has some issues. We need to be flexible in our understandings tonight. For example, some members of the public may not be able to make public comments on Zoom. If that happens, please please submit your comments can be emailed to publiccomment@sonomacity.org. Moving forward, we'll also have a couple other ways you can make public comments. Obviously, you can attend this meeting in person and make a comment in the chambers. You'll be able to make comments via Zoom or smartphone or regular phone as well. And again, if you want to make public comments via email, you can do publiccomment@sonomacity.org. Directions on how to participate via Zoom are located on the Planning Commission agenda, and we'll go over that in a minute too. Another item I'd like to mention too is if the power goes out this evening, we are under the potential red flag warning. If there is any power interruption, all unaddressed items we continue to the September 25th Design Review and Historic Preservation Regular Commission meeting. And a bit of another statement while they're working this tech out that we've got some meeting length concerns. No new items will be heard by the Design Review Historic Preservation Commission after 10 p.m. unless the commission by majority vote specifically decides to continue in reviewing items. If an item is not heard due to the length of the meeting, commission will attempt to schedule a special meeting for the following week. If a special meeting is necessary, potential dates will be established to close this meeting and the dates set as soon as possible. As part of the call to order, I'd like to also mention at this time the public may comment on any item not appearing on the agenda. It's recommended you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less, and I briefly discuss how your options are for doing that under this hybrid format. Under state law, matters presented under this item cannot be discussed or acted upon by Design Review Historic Preservation Commission at this time. For items appearing on the agenda, the public will be invited to make comments at the time when the item comes up for commission consideration. Upon being acknowledged by the chair, please step to the podium and to speak to the microphone. You have 3 minutes, so that's that. There's another part to this too. If you're participating by Zoom, we have some rules that are in place for complying with social distancing and allowing people to contribute by Zoom. So in order to minimize the spread of COVID-19 virus, the City of Sonoma is providing multiple alternatives to viewing Design Review Historic Preservation Committee meetings and providing comments on the agenda. These meetings include in-person attendance and meeting via Zoom. So we're having this hybrid mode as we're working on now. If you're attending via online, you're able to view the meetings at the city's live stream civic web port site, which is sonomacity.civicweb.net. There's also the YouTube channel, a www.youtube.com channel, and there's a bunch of letters next to that. It's on the agenda if you've submitted an item. I don't want to go through that in detail. If you're submitting comments by email, if you cannot attend, and you'd like to make a specific comment, you can submit your email to publiccomment@sonomacity.org at any time. Prior to the meeting correspondence, per the city standard practice, any comments received prior to the commencement of the meeting will be uploaded in the public correspondence folder on the city's web portal. Excuse me. And available for review to the public at Design Review Historic Preservation. Will not be read during the meeting. During the meeting, making a public comment, if you wish your comments to be read in the record, please submit your email to publiccomment@sonomacity.org after the chair calls the meeting to order and prior to the close of public comments on the agenda. Virtual participation by Zoom. The City of Sonoma is now offering the ability to participate via Zoom, which is a teleconferencing software. Instructions for participating by Zoom are below. Please visit zoom.us.website, and then we've got a meeting number. So the Zoom number for this meeting is 980-2995-9654. That's how you get into the meeting. And you can either sign up for a free Zoom account or join as a guest. Once you've downloaded the app on your smartphone or computer and join from a browser, or download the Zoom software on your computer, be ready for the Design Review Historic Preservation Committee meeting. If you previously signed up on Zoom, you can enter the meeting directly. Again, that number is 980-2995-9654. If you don't have a computer or a smartphone, can I still use Zoom? If you don't have a smartphone, you can participate on the phone by calling one of the following numbers: 669-900-9128, 253-215-8782, 346-248-779, 301-715-8592. And entering the meeting ID again is 980-2995-9654. In preparing public comments, you can make comments during each meeting. Once the chair has announced the public comment period, please do the following. If you're using a computer or a smartphone, you need to click the raise your hand feature in the webinar controls. This will notify staff that you've raised your hand and would like to speak. If city staff will then unmute your microphone and allow you to make your public comment. Note that the public's video will not show the screen because they're using a webinar format. A prompt will appear for you to confirm if you'd like to be unmuted. Once you accept the prompt, you have 3 minutes to provide public comment. Once your comment is ended, you will be unmuted again. Using a regular phone, dial *9. This will notify the city staff you've raised your hand for public comment. City staff will unmute your microphone when it's your turn to provide your comment. You'll hear you are unmuted and you'll have 3 minutes to provide your public comment. Once the comment period is ended, you'll be muted again. If you don't want to provide any public comment live, can I provide them for the record? Again, that would be best way is probably email at publiccomment@sonomacity.org. If you're having difficulties with Zoom, you can go to Zoom's website on some more information on how to prepare for these meetings. With that.
So Chair Cormany, we have
Yes.
2 commissioners that are participating tonight via Zoom.
Okay.
So let's make sure we get them on record as being in attendance. So Commissioner Jerome?
Yes.
Great, we can hear you. And Commissioner Randolph?
Present.
Thank you.
Not only can we hear you, we can see you. This is a wonderful thing. Okay. With that, I'd like to go to item number 2. Are there any new public comments for these virtual meetings? Are there public comments in general that's not on this? Is there any staff? Is there any comments?
We're checking.
Okay.
No new public correspondence other than what has been uploaded already.
Okay, because we did have some public correspondence, but that was prior to the meeting. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. So comments from the public we'll take in the form as we run through this. Anything that's not on the agenda, again, keeping it to 3 minutes or less. Right now, we'd like to review the agenda and accept the agenda. And I just want to warn you to, let me throw this in there too. No items will be heard by design review historic preservation after 10 p.m. unless the commission decides to by major vote. If it's not heard, we can reschedule it. So there's a lot of items on the agenda this evening. There's potential it may run long. I just want to throw that out there. So is there anybody who would like to pass a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. So the motion has been approved. The agenda is,
Oh, I'll need to do a roll call vote.
okay, I'm sorry.
Thank
Wendy?
you. Commissioner Amar,
Aye.
Commissioner Randolph,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson, Vice Chair Burt,
Aye.
Chair Cormany.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, is there any late correspondence?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Any late correspondence that was received was posted to the document center on the website.
Yeah, I would basically, was any late correspondence today, because we have some previous, right? Okay. Consent calendar, is there anything on the consent calendar for review?
No, there's not.
Great, thank you. With that, we can move into our public hearing portion of this meeting. We're going to start by reviewing item number 7.1, which is a discussion of a sign application. Staff, can we get a report, please?
Yes, thank you, Chair Cormany and members of the commission. It's so lovely to see everyone here tonight. This is an application for a sign application for Rite Aid at 19205 Sonoma Highway. It's located in the Maxwell Village Shopping Center, north of Ramon Street on Sonoma Highway. The site is zoned commercial, and drug-type stores are a permitted use in that zoning district. By way of background, in 1988, the Architectural Review Commission approved a sign program for the Maxwell Village Shopping Center, and this program allows for the subject tenant space to have one 48-square-foot wall sign on the face of the building. In 2014, the Design Review and Historic Preservation Commission approved a new 66.5-square-foot illuminated wall sign for the Rite Aid. The approved sign is considered non-conforming. And then earlier this year, this commission continued the sign application for a new sign for Rite Aid to a date uncertain to allow the applicant to revise the sign application to be consistent with the sign regulations. So at this time, a new internally illuminated shield channel logo wall sign for Rite Aid is proposed. The wall sign is one-sided with an approximate area of 15 square feet. The sign area is limited to a shield logo. The sign face would consist of a blue, white, and green aluminum logo can. The Maxwell Village Monument sign will also be updated to reflect the name change, but it's not subject to this commission's approval. And it is consistent with the sign program. So the top picture is the existing sign, and the bottom picture is the proposed sign. And then this shield logo is what they're proposing as a new sign. So the sign is consistent with the sign requirements with regard to aggregate sign area and number of signs. So there are certain findings this commission must make in order to approve an application for a new sign. And, oh, that recommendation is incorrect. Oopsie. The staff is actually recommending this commission approve the revised sign proposal. Thank you.
Are there any questions for staff at this time? I have one. So when we previously reviewed this, it was the letters and the sign, and now it's just the shield itself. Is that correct?
Right. They're proposing to use the existing Rite Aid letters.
Okay, thank you. Turn this on. Is applicant available for comment? Would like to provide comment? Seeing, is there any? It's hard for us to know. Is anyone online in regards to this as well?
Yes, we're looking at that. So the way things work now is Christina and I are tag teaming it. So
Okay.
she's on the back end right now, and I'm on the front end. So I'm controlling who's seeing what, and she has the ability to see if anyone wants to participate.
Okay. I'll wait for your.
Yeah, I don't see anybody raising their hand.
Okay. So we don't really have the option to ask any questions to the applicant. Are there any public comments related to this agenda item 7.1? And I'm going to say,
We just had 2 hands pop up.
okay.
So we have Jerry Backs.
Hello, my name is Jerry Bax. I'm with Jones Lang LaSalle, representative for Rite Aid. And basically what, as was explained, what they're looking to do is replace the existing logo with the new, their new brand, their new logo, leaving the existing letter set as is, as you see it today.
Thank you. Is there another comment, did you say, Christina?
There's a phone number. I've got 818. I don't want to read the number aloud. The 818 number you've been promoted.
Hello, this is Christina from Visible Graphics. How are you?
Great,
Can you hear
Christina,
me?
can you please state your last name?
Sure, it's Garcia.
Great. Do you have anything to add?
Basically, just what Jerry said. We are proposing. We originally had submitted when we did the first design review to go with, new Rite Aid letters in addition to the shield. But unfortunately, it didn't meet the sign code, so we are reproposing just to change out the shield and keep the Rite Aid letters. So the new shield will have their new logo. We will use LEDs, so the actual shield will match with the existing letters. And that's all I have to add.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant from the commission? Any online? Michaela? Commissioner Jeremy? Seeing none. Any public comments related to this agenda item 7.1?
I see one hand. Christina, do you want your hand up still?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Seeing no public comments, we'll close the meeting now to the public. We'll bring it back to commission for discussion. Let's start with Commissioner Amar. Can I get your input on this item?
Well, it's a clever solution to that problem that you came up with. So it's still going to be non-conforming, I believe. And so we are trying to make the signs conforming in this town. So, but I do like the fact that you're just keeping the same sign there and not replacing what's not broken. So I think I'm okay with just replacing the shield and proceeding with from there. That's what I have to say about that.
Thank you. Commissioner Burt?
I concur with Commissioner Amar. We all know that it is non-conforming, and I'm glad that they're only changing the logo, so I'm fine with the application.
Commissioner Johnson?
I agree with my fellow commissioners on this item. Thankful that they've been working with us to try to bring this a little bit closer to conforming for us because we're moving in that direction. And even so, there are some issues with it. I'm still okay as it's being proposed now.
And Commissioner Randolph via Zoom.
Yes, I agree with my fellow commissioners on this. I appreciate also the efforts from the folks with Rite Aid and the sign folks. And yes, a creative solution. It's not perfect, but it's way better than it was before, and I am fine with this application. And thank you again.
Thank you. And I would like to add too, I think it's a nice solution to just work with a shield, which gives them their branding ID, and the lettering was not significantly different in the last proposal, so I think it's a creative solution. At this point, I'd like to ask, is there anybody who'd like to make a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve
Go ahead.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the application with all the attached findings.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. May we have a roll call, a vote on that, please, staff?
Yes. Commissioner Amar,
Aye.
Commissioner Randolph,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Burt,
Aye.
Chair Cormany.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
Very good, one down. Okay, moving on, we're going to move to item number 7.2, which is a design review again for the dispensary, cannabis dispensary Spark. Can we get a staff report, please?
Yes, just one moment. Thank you. So this is the discussion and possible action to approve a modified sign application and modified design review application for a cannabis dispensary. Just a moment. This is strange. What's displaying on my computer isn't displaying in the virtual world, so just give me a moment here.
That's fine, we'll be patient.
Thank you. Well, how about I'll give my presentation and you can pretend to see what I want you to see. And if I need to pull out the drawings, we'll do it the old-fashioned way.
That's fine, seeing how we've all reviewed this in person anyway, thank you.
So this project is located just south of Ramon Street on Sonoma Highway. It's the property is currently developed with a vacant restaurant. And there are commercial and housing opportunity sites that surround the facility. In 2020, the City Council adopted a resolution that awarded a conditional certificate to Spark that allows it to make applications to obtain a commercial cannabis business. In March of this year, this commission recommended the Planning Commission approve the sign and design review for the cannabis business. And then in May of this year, the Planning Commission approved the use permit, design review, and sign applications for the business. So when a project requires both review by this commission and the Planning Commission, this commission makes a recommendation to the Planning Commission, and the Planning Commission ultimately has the discretion over awarding the approval. At this time, 2 signs are proposed: a refaced monument sign and a wall sign. The refaced monument sign was approved by the Planning Commission in May. The wall sign is proposed to be located near the front entrance. When you walk up the steps, it would be located on the wall right when you walk in. In addition, posted address numbers are proposed. So the fire department is now requiring a minimum of 12 inches in height for address numbers. And anytime an address number is proposed that's larger than 6 inches, it requires review by this commission. And the 2.2 square foot sign that is being proposed is constructed of aluminum fabricated lettering, and illumination is not proposed. And I have a beautiful picture of the new signs, which everyone can't see. And I wanted to let you know that the proposal, the aggregate sign area is based on the property frontage on Sonoma Highway. And this particular site is allowed to have 204 square feet. And they're actually proposing, with the inclusion of the wall sign and the existing monument sign, that aggregate area would be exceeded. And the total aggregate sign area would be 212 square feet. And the proposal is not consistent with this requirement, but a variance was approved for the size of the monument sign in 2011. So the proposal is consistent with the size limitations for the wall sign and the number of signs. With regard to design review, proposed external building modifications consist of removing the previously approved corrugated metal wall paneling on the east, south, and west facing elevations and replace it with board and batten siding, and remove the parapet wall and sign over the front entrance, and to install a plaque at the front door with wording, locations, and materials to be approved by the planning director in consultation with the local historic organizations. So in order to approve a sign application, there are certain sign findings this commission must make, and then there are design review findings that need to be made. And staff's recommending that this commission recommend that the planning commission approve the sign and design review applications for the alterations to the cannabis dispensary, subject to findings and conditions of approval. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you very much. Very comprehensive. Are there any questions for staff?
Through the chair.
Sorry, I need to. Are any questions for staff at this point?
It looks like Commissioner Randolph has a question.
Commissioner Randolph?
Thank you, Wendy and Chair Carmody. Wendy, it sounds like the requirement for the address numbers, like there's two conflicting requirements there, one from the fire department and one from the city. Can you address that a little bit for us?
Sure. So the sign regulations say that we can approve address signs provided they're no taller than 6 inches in height. In this case, the fire department is requiring the text to be 12 inches tall. And so that just means that this commission has to approve the address sign.
And so do the fire department requirements supersede the city requirement?
Yeah, so the fire department's requiring it. We can't say, no, you can't have that, but we could say we don't like the design or the color.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions from staff?
I have a
Commissioner Burt?
question. It's to follow up Commissioner Randolph's question. So in response to one of the conditions, is it being recommended that they comply with putting the larger size lettering?
Yes.
And that's on the conditions
Yes.
of approval? Okay. Thank you.
And I have a question as well. Is this something we're going to be seeing more of because of these conflicting requirements?
Yes, I think at some point we're going to revise the sign regulations, so that doesn't have to come to this commission every time.
Great, thank you very much. Commissioner Randolph?
Thank you. Just one follow-up on that. Is that requirement from the fire department on businesses only, or is that also residents?
It's on commercial and multifamily residential.
Got it. Thank you. Oops.
Okay, is the applicant available either in person or virtually?
I believe they're on virtually.
Give us a moment, we'll see. I think we.
Yeah, he just left though. How curious.
I'll ask another question while we're waiting.
Go ahead.
So is the Spark sign, Wendy, that you're talking about that's at the front? I'm looking at the agenda documents online. And is that sign on the little parapet that's up above the entryway? Is that where it's located? It looks like it from the illustration here.
Yeah, it's on the entryway, about head 6 feet off the ground. Yeah.
So it's not like over the door. It's showing it on the little parapet that's being placed over the entryway.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other commissioners' questions for staff? Okay. As applicant, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about your project, how you got there, I believe you're online now, so go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you, Commissioners, for your time tonight. As you heard from the excellent staff report, we are proposing a small change to signage as well as a siding update to propose something a little bit more muted and to comply with the fire department requirements for the illuminated lettering for the building identification. Everything here is fairly minor. The use permit itself has been approved. This is really just changing out the siding because we want to work with the community, and we've heard the concerns around the previously proposed metal siding as well as the parapet above the roof line. I just want to clarify that has been removed. There is nothing above the roof line. The kind of color splash that was there has been moved to that area in front of the door under the covered porch area there. So everything is just a little bit more muted and hopefully, is not problematic and, provides our Spark aesthetic that we're looking to bring while also being cognizant of the surroundings and respectful of the wishes that we've heard from the community.
Thank you.
We appreciate
Thank you.
that.
Very helpful.
Are there any questions for the applicant from other members of the commission? Commissioner Amar?
Hi, I am wondering if you know what is the height of the existing monument sign that's there?
Not off the top of my head. I was looking at it in the staff report just a moment ago, but I'm sorry, I don't know that.
And is your sign meant to be comparable in size or smaller,
It's
do you think?
it's the existing sign. We're reskinning the existing sign for the monument sign. So it's just, we're not changing that out at all, just updating kind of the facade on it. And then the new sign proposed here tonight is just the small Spark lettering near the front door.
Oh, we have it.
Oh, and I see our architect just commented, I'm sorry, I guess he wasn't let in, but he says the monument size sign is 16 foot, 2 inches.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the commission? Seeing none. Are there any public comments? Anybody like to make a public comment, either online or in person? I'll defer to you, Christina.
Yeah, there's about a 20-second delay, so just let us take a moment to see if anybody raises their hand.
That's fine. Okay.
No?
Seeing none, we're going to close the comments to the public. We'll bring back to the commission for discussion. Commissioner Marr, since you have an open mic, I'm going to call on you.
Sure. I'm fine approving the larger lettering than the 6 feet to comply with the fire department. That's an easy one. I'd like to clarify, are we approving the monument sign or not at this moment?
No.
Thank you.
It's already been approved.
Okay, thank you. I really prefer the design, the updated design you came up with without the parapet, and it's going to be, like you said, more minimal, a little more subtle, and I really like the new updated design, so thank you for that. And I don't have any problem with the Spark sign itself, just on the entryway. I think it's fine. So, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Burt?
I'll just go ahead and say ditto to what Commissioner Amar was saying, that as far as taking the parapet, I think that's a good idea, and I like the idea of minimizing and having that lettering over there by the front door, and also continuing the what do we put here, the board and batten siding, and that'll be more consistent with what's already there. So it's a nice flow, nice application. So no problem with it.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson?
Yeah, again, I agree with both commissioners. I'm thankful to the applicants for toning it down a little bit. And I have, again, no issues with the number requirements, the addressing. Since there was a variance already approved for the monument side, and that's not something we have to deal with, that's fine. And I'm perfectly fine with the way this application has been submitted. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Randolph, via Zoom.
Yes, thank you. I agree with all the rest of the commissioners on this one. The only thing I would mention is it sounds like the total square footage is just a hair over what is required. And I imagine that if you wanted to totally comply, you could reduce the lettering size that's at the front door. I don't know how much you would have to do that to be in compliance. I don't think that would certainly not hold me up from approving this application. But if you did want to experiment with it, you could. And thank you also for the modifications that you made. I think this is going to look terrific.
Thank you. And I would like to comment that I actually prefer the previous submitted version, although I understand toning it down. I never really had a problem with it to begin with. And I think that the suggestions you've made are appropriate for the situation. At this time, I'd like to propose that somebody suggest a motion to approve. Does someone take that on, please?
I propose that we accept the application as submitted.
Second.
Hearing a second. Okay. Can we go to staff for a roll call?
Thank you. Commissioner Amar.
Aye.
Commissioner Randolph.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson.
Aye.
Vice Chair Burt. And Chair Cormany.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 7.3, which is I guess we have an addition at 236 East Spain. So can we get a staff report, please? Oh, we got
Sure.
pictures. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Cormany. It looks like we may have a presentation with this one as well. So this is a discussion and possible action to approve a modified design review application for 1,189 square foot addition to an existing 3,596 square foot residence. Well, we get the presentation on the first screen and then it doesn't advance for whatever reason. And that's one of the quirks we were mentioning in the very beginning of the meeting. We haven't quite figured everything out with this dual system here. So back in 2020, this commission approved the design review application for an addition to the residence. At this time, the applicant is proposing modifications to the approved application consisting of changing the 5 new dormers to 5 to increase the natural light in the home. The dormers have been revised to have curved roofs and arched top windows. The existing asphalt composition shingle roofing will be replaced with standing seam metal roofing. The existing vinyl windows and doors will be replaced with new aluminum clad wood windows and doors, or steel doors and windows, either in conjunction with or in place of the aluminum clad units. 2 additional windows are proposed on the south elevation, and the shape of the window of one of the windows has been revised to have a curved window, and the pergola has been removed. On the north elevation, the existing windows will be replaced with a bay window pop-out, And on the west elevation, the new addition at the rear of the property was extended by about 5 feet in order to provide for additional interior space. To maintain the proportions of the wall to window that was previously approved, an additional window was added to the west elevation, resulting in a bank of 4 windows. And 24-inch wide operable side lights were added to the doors north of the main entry to allow for additional passive ventilation. This project is not subject to Planning Commission review, so this commission can either approve with conditions, or deny the application. And there are certain findings this commission must make in order to approve an application. And staff's recommending that this commission approve the design review application subject to findings and conditions of approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. We appreciate that. Is the applicant available either in person or virtually? You know, while we're waiting, I realize I jumped the gun. Are there any questions from staff, from the commissioners? Michaela? No?
No.
Okay, seeing none.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So this is, I'm Robert Bauman, the architect on the project. I was having difficulty getting used to the changes that have been done with Zoom, so I'm sorry if this wasn't as smooth as it could have been. Yeah, I'm basically here to answer any questions. I think the staff report was very thorough. I was hoping that we weren't going to need to go through another DRHPC hearing, because I feel that the changes were so minor and so insignificant. But happy to answer any questions about it. The majority of the project was approved in the last DRHPC hearing, and to just change dormers from gable to curved, roofs, and to put side lights on a door, it just seemed like it was unnecessary to go through this and take your time and my client's money to do all this. But I'm happy to answer any questions about what we're proposing. The addition on the back of 5 extra feet to get more interior space was done at a client's request. The change of adding stone and possibly steel frame windows, these were all improvements that the owner decided to make, incurring more cost, but it's going to end up in a much more high-end, beautiful project. So if there are any concerns or questions about what we're proposing, I'm happy to explain and answer.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Are there any questions for the applicant from the commission?
I just have a comment, as usual. I just want to thank
Randolph,
you.
go ahead. Sorry.
Thanks. I want to thank you for bringing this back to our attention. This is such a beautiful property, and I know we don't see it because it's back from the street. But I'm kind of sorry you had to bring it back, but I'm also glad that you did, because we get to see the development of this gorgeous place, and it seems like it's going to be left in a better condition than you originally started with. So sorry that you had to go through the process, but I appreciate your returning.
Thank you, Commissioner Randolph.
You are welcome.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Are there any public comments on this agenda item? Yes, I see some hands raised. Would you like to come to the podium and please present your name and address? And you'll have 3 minutes.
I can't hear her comments.
Sorry. Okay, here we go. So we're Michael and Susan Alberigi, and we own the property directly behind this project at 367 Las Casitas Court. Our neighbor is also here with us. He's going to comment as well. And Susan and I are, and we're not objecting to people upgrading their property, like I said before. It's great, as long as it doesn't affect the other properties adjacent to it. And we feel like this is going to affect us and maybe the resale of our house. The front of the place faces away from us. There's nothing with the dorm. We don't even care about that. It's not a problem. The problem we have is that they approved a 750 square foot addition to the side of the house. This house has been taken up, moved off the foundation, moved away, new foundation put in. Now the house is backed up to us like this. It's backed up right to our fence. And I know it should be lowered down, but it's up now very high. And their roof is very close to the back of our fence. I didn't even know what the setback
We don't know what the
is.
setback is.
So-
Mr. Baumann can probably
Yeah,
answer that.
so anyway, what's happened now they're going to 1,189 square feet. Where is that going, Mr. Baumann? Is it going on addition to the 750 feet that you were moving out to the side? Or is it going to the front of the house? They already have a guest house and this house, and now they're just,
They're closing
I mean,
our
this is getting
entire
ridiculous. The
backyard.
whole backyard, we're going to lose in our view. You know, unless they put trees between their house and the wall that we have there.
But it will also diminish our
So-
light coming into our backyard
Yeah,
and coming into our home.
right. Now, I was told by his project manager, a lady that lives actually on Las Casitas Court, that the height of the building was going to be the same as it was originally. I don't know if that's true or not, because they put a new foundation in. I have no idea. Okay? So we want to know, is that an extra 500 and something square feet? Where's it going? Is it going onto that 750 that was added on for a gym
In an office.
in an office? Why not use the guest house for the gym and the office? I don't know. So anyway, he needs to explain that to us. I would think that would be nice, and
May
it's
I
going to
also-
affect our neighbor as well. So
May I also say that currently, before all this took place, the house, the original house, our backyard, let's say this is our backyard wall, it came to maybe here on our back wall. Now with the addition of the 700 square feet, it's going to be about here.
So that's a roof
Now-
line that we're having to look at.
Yeah, and then now they want to continue on with another to 1,100 square feet, which is going to bring it not only past our whole wall, but into probably a third or a half of
the
the
Soggy's.
Soggy's wall.
Can I
So
submit these?
And that's
these-
3
these-
minutes.
these additions
How do we submit these?
are just totally closing off our entire backyard.
Yeah.
And it's very disturbing.
Yeah. So,
Can you
you know,
sub-
they
can
can
you
increase
submit-
the value of theirs, but not increase ours. That's the whole key. So I took
we've
some
reached
photos if
time.
you guys want to look at these.
Wait a second.
We've reached your 3-minute time limit,
Okay.
so we'll have to accept your comments at this time.
Can I submit these?
Can we submit those?
We invite you over to look at it.
Oh, yes, please. We would love for you to come and
What is the, okay.
Thank you. Another public comment, would you like to come to the podium, please? And state your name?
Hi, my name is Alan Saggy. My wife and I live at 363 Las Casitas Court, right next to the Alberigis. And for the last few months, we've seen this house taken up and moved, and a lot of construction in the back. And we have a big concern about our privacy. I understand that a new foundation has been poured. How high is that foundation? Is it going to raise the house? Are the windows going to be able to look into our backyards and ruin our privacy? That's one of our main concerns. Also, adding all this square footage to the property, we're also concerned that it exceeds the maximum allowable on that lot. So yeah, we have some concerns. We do with the addition and the privacy. Is the owner of that property going to put up trees to reduce their visibility into our backyards? That's what we'd like to know. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Is the applicant available to address some of those concerns, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, to address the first one, yes, the house has been lifted to do a new foundation, but the house will be the exact same height that it was to begin with. The foundation goes from the finished floor down. Commissioner Cormany, you understand construction. We had to rectify a non-conforming foundation to current code requirements and provide crawl space access and height. So that went down. The foundation went down. The house is not being raised up. The ridge height of the new house, of the replaced house, once it gets set back down on the foundation, will match the ridge height of the previous house before we lifted it up. The addition is going off of the back, and that's a lower height addition than the existing house. So it's not going closer, the addition is not extending the house closer to the side property lines, it's going towards the rear of the property. And regarding the comment about are we conforming, we would not be here at this hearing if we were not conforming. We would be at a planning commission hearing asking for an exception to side yard setback, or an exception to floor area ratio, or an exception to coverage, which we're not. We're completely conforming to all zoning limitations. And Wendy Atkins can verify that. Were there any other concerns that needed to be addressed? Privacy. Yes, the owner would also like privacy from neighbors, and there is landscaping planted or planned on all sides of the house. And I believe the area that the neighbor who made the comment, I believe where they're located, that side is going to be screened with new olive trees, to my understanding. We have hired McGrain Associates, landscape architect in town. We have a full planting plan that was not part of the required submittal materials for this hearing, but I'm happy to share that with the owners if they would like to see it.
Thank you, we appreciate that. Are there any other comments from the public, either in person or via Zoom at this point?
Can we ask him a question?
Sure, you may come to the podium again. Please state your name.
Susan Alberigi. Mr. Baumann, I just want to get real clear in my head. You're saying that the roof line that is current, the current roof line, is not going to go any further than it was originally, and that the whole new addition will be the lowered roof line. And if you can look at, you probably have something in your office there that shows where we live. We're at 367. What is the roof line going to look like going through our entire property? Because we had nothing there before.
Okay, we'll send it back to the applicant, please.
Yeah. Yes, hi, I'm back. I'm looking at my parcel maps to figure out where 367 is. Hold on for 1 second. Okay, so yes, the roof line, the higher portion of roof line is going to be as was previously approved at the last DRHPC hearing. The addition that we're asking for this time is going to be the lower height roof line. So we're not asking for an extension other than what was previously approved of the higher roof line. We're asking for an extension of the lower roof line. And that can be seen on the submitted exterior elevations. We also submitted the exterior elevations of the existing building. And that will show you where, that would show you, the new elevations will show you existing and addition, the arrows at the proposed west elevation. And it's just the addition of the smaller height that's being requested now.
For clarity, since we don't have the visuals right now because of some of our technology challenges, can you tell me the difference in height between the original height and this quote-unquote lower height in feet?
Yes. The currently requested addition on the back has a 4 foot, the ridge height is 4 feet lower than what was approved at the last hearing.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments, either in person or online at this point? You know, unfortunately, we don't have the ability, if you'd like, Commissioner Burt can show you, that we do have a digital rendition that she could share with you. You might have a better understanding what the roof line's going to do. Please bear with us. They're looking at some online details that we don't have currently available to us.
Commissioner Corman, is it possible that I could share my screen and show you the drawing on my screen?
I think we have that ability. Wendy's shaking her head saying yes. So we'd be happy to do that if you have the ability to do it on your end.
Okay, yes, hold on.
Okay, we can see this now. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, great. So can you also see my cursor?
We can.
Yes.
Great. So I'm pointing right now to the existing and addition, and this is what was approved back at the last DRHPC hearing. The new part is down here, and it's 4 feet lower than what was previously approved. And the side facing the neighbor who was just speaking is this one, the east elevation. So this is what was previously approved, and this is what we're requesting right now.
They're gonna extend the original roof?
Yes. Okay, that was not.
Okay, are there any further public comments? If you please would like to stand to the podium, we need to have it on record with a mic.
Michael Alberici again. The original approval, and we went over to the property and talked to the project manager and everything, and he said that the original roof line of the higher roof line was going to remain the same, and then they were going to take the lower roof line and tear that down or extend it out 750 feet. Now we're seeing that the original roof line is going to go over what that 750 square feet is, and then they're dropping down another lower one, which is going to extend it all the way over into their yard. This is ridiculous. I mean, this is so much of overkill. So I think maybe people should go out with us, or if it's possible, go look at this project and really take a look at it and get a more clear view of this, because it's not what we were told originally, I can tell you that.
Okay, appreciate your comment. For clarity, Mr. Baumann, can you confirm that this was what was presented before to this commission and had been approved? I think we've lost our technology.
We may. We're just not seeing it through the equipment here.
Please bear with us, we're having some technical challenges.
The power could have also gone out. I don't know.
Possibility.
Hold on, just let me confirm with the tech people.
Thank you. Bear with us for a moment, we're checking on some technology issues. We're we're trying to figure it out. There may be some power outages. We're not sure what's going on. We'll be with you in a moment.
The tech person, Juan, is calling in reinforcements. So if we could just stand by for just a few minutes, we'll take a commercial break.
That's fine. Give us a couple minutes. We'll figure this out.
What the change is between the previous approved submittal and the current
I
submittal?
think so. It looks like, if I'm
excuse
looking,
me.
Hang on.
Hold
Can
on
we
just a
hold
minute.
on, please?
We have
Hold
you
on.
back.
We're working on technology. We've just got signal back and have images and Zoom participants again. So, Mr. Baumann, can you provide your comments, please?
Yeah, so what I'm showing you right now is the previously approved DRHP submittal showing the west elevation. And then what I'm going to show you now is the current request for approval. There's very little difference.
so, may
If you have
I
a
ask a
public question.
clarifying question?
Yes.
Chair Cormier, can you hear me?
Yes, we have another public comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. This is Alan Saggy again from 363 Las Casitas. Mr. Baumann, I'm interested to know how many feet you're extending that original roof line, the tall roof, not the lower part. But apparently you're extending it, and it will cover the Alberigi's whole backyard. So it's really encroaching on their light and their enjoyment of the backyard. You're going to extend that tall roof all the way out. There is no second floor in this house, as I understand. So the roof with your dormer windows is going to allow a lot of light in. But I'd just like to know how many feet you're extending the tall part of the roof to the north. Thank you.
We are again having some technical challenges, and we've lost our signal. So we'll wait to get that back on. Hopefully.
Can you hear me?
We
Can
can
everybody
hear
hear
you.
me?
Yes, we're getting your visual coming back. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so the higher portion of roof is being extended approximately 4 feet more to the north.
And the confirmation that was already approved by this commission in the previous version. Is that correct?
That was yes. The previous version was 4 feet less of an extension of the upper roof, and now we're asking for 4 feet for that upper roof to be extended, and that's in addition to the lower roof. The lower roof just got moved out. It's the upper roof that got extended 4 feet.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time, either online or in person? No. Christina? At this time, I'm going to close the meeting to public comment and bring it back to the commission for discussion. We'll start with Commissioner Marr. I'd like to hear your feedback on this item.
Okay, I'll first start by saying I really do love this project. It's going to be very beautiful, and it is. I wish we could see it more from the street. That being said, I think that for your clients, for the future homeowners, it would probably behoove them to make their neighbors happy. One thing is having a little extra space to live in, and another is having friendly neighbors to enjoy the community with, and it's a small town, and starting things off on the right foot would be a good thing, I think. So just coming to some kind of agreement, or just working a little bit more with these back neighbors so that they feel comfortable with your design going forward and they don't feel like you're encroaching on them in any way. I think that would really be to the benefit of the future homeowners. And otherwise, legality, it probably would go to that after that, but I think the aesthetics are wonderful, and I'd be curious to see if the landscape plan had anything to shelter the back portion, and also if there would be an agreement with the neighbors, if that could kind of be worked out with them as far as working with them to get appropriate vegetation, make everybody happy. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Commissioner Burt?
I know that having new building in the neighborhood, it does change things around. And I do know that when you're putting in additions and all that, there's rules that they have to abide by. And one of them is like the mass of it and how much coverage and all of that. And mathematically, it all fits all the boxes. And at the same time, the issue of privacy on the neighbors and light is an issue too. It would have been nice had they had clarified with the neighbors as far as how that new roof line was. And I'm still not quite clear. I understand that what was previously approved and what's up today. And from what I understand, what's up for approval is the lower level, the lower roof line, plus extending part of the higher roof line. I just wanted to clarify.
I believe that's correct.
Okay, so my question would be, would there be some type of compromise of either, and I know they want their addition with the lower roof line, but maybe not extending that portion of what was approved of the higher point? Do you know what I'm saying? That one portion, which, because you guys, they had already approved that first one, that's done. So my question to all of you, and asking your opinion, what if they would just extend it to where it was and then put the lower roof line, that 500 square feet, and attach it to there? Does that make any sense? So that's.
So when you have staff question, are we going to have Michaela available, Mr. Randolph?
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Johnson, interested in your feedback?
I also like the aesthetics of this project. Mr. Bowman's always brought in some very, very great projects and has always done a wonderful job in doing them, especially some of the historic ones that I've been a part of this commission on. Again, it seems, as Commissioner Burt said, there are a number of boxes that are checked when these applications are being made, and it seems to me that those were made. But I also agree with the other two commissioners about potential compromises, and if that's in landscaping after this is done or in some other form, I would hope that that being good neighbors, that would be something that could be decided upon. But and again, I would too also like to just get verification, because I think I heard Robert say that the 4 feet that they want to move out on the higher ridge line is new. The ridge line itself was approved, but the extra 4 feet hadn't been a part of that originally. So that's a little tricky. But again, it seems to fit in the boxes that need to be checked off, and the setbacks and everything else seems to be okay. So I would just err on the side of the other commissioners about hopefully seeing some compromise worked out between both or three parties as they move this forward.
Thank you.
If I may respond to some of these comments.
Let me finish the comments from the commission, and we'll open it back up to you, Commissioner Randolph.
Thank you, Commissioner Carmody, and thank you, other commissioners, for your sensitive comments. I am looking at the drawing that and Robert, you're probably looking still at it too. And I'm looking at the proposed west elevation with the arrows for addition and existing. And I believe that the addition is the higher roof line that contains the French door and the 4 paned windows. And then the next piece is the smaller version that has the lower roof line. That is the area that we're talking about, I believe. And
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So the part that goes from the beginning of the French door to the end of the high roof line, are you saying that has already been approved, or it's been approved except for 4 more feet?
The latter. It was
Okay.
approved, the latter.
Okay, cool. All right, so I think, again, I agree with everybody on the aesthetics here. I mean, that isn't even a question. We already know the quality of work done by this architect and team. But I feel that there needs to be some conversation with the neighbors who have legitimate concerns, and perhaps it's simply a clarification conversation that could be solved by walking out there and looking at what's happening. I agree with everything that my other commissioners commented on about our small community, and it is important to be in good stead with your neighbors. It makes for a happier life all the way around. And there may be a solution here that is as easy as a conversation, just to make sure people really understand where these lines are relative to their properties. It's a little hard for me to figure it out, of course, too, because we're not seeing the neighboring properties. But I will defer back to my fellow commissioners for further comment, or however Chairman Carmody wishes to take it.
I'd like to provide some comment on it as well. When I first saw this submission, I was like, oh, here's another East Side project getting ballooned in size, which I kind of have some issues with. But then in looking at it, the aesthetics, and all I've seen is the materials have been upscaled. We've gone from asphalt shingled roof to a steel roof, which is an improvement. Gone from, everything that seems to be done here to me seems to be additional expense, additional request at a higher level. So I think that's pretty nice. It's not a typical situation. As far as neighbor concerns, I am a little concerned about plantings and future intrusions on their privacy and space and shade. I can totally relate to that as a homeowner. Not 100% certain how to address some of those. I don't know if this would require a potential meeting between the architect and the neighbors to review this and have some discussion further, or where our boundaries are on that. As far as design review and this commission is concerned, I think it's a really nice addition, and what they've done is appropriate. But obviously there's some public comments and some factors in here. So at this point, I have a question for staff. Since we have the architect on, should we have opened back up to, are we out of sequence? Is that a public open when he's commenting?
Yes.
So I'm going to open this back up to public comment one more time before we shut it down. Give Mr. Baumann a chance to respond and see if we can find a middle ground. We'll also take you at the podium as well. So, Mr. Baumann, would you like to respond to that? And then we have one more public comment.
Yes. Let me point out that the entire height of that ridge off of grade is between 16 feet and 17 feet. This is not a second story. It's a one-story building. And I say between 16 and 17 feet because it's based on where you measure from grade. So for them to say that a 16-foot high roof on the property next door to them is going to block all their light and view of the sky, I think is absolutely absurd. And they then contradict themselves by saying they want trees planted, which would do more to block their view and air and light. So I think that's contradictory. I'm happy to meet with them on site with the contractor and walk out where this addition is going to be to alter the roof for that 4 feet would require such an enormous amount of work with me and the structural engineering consultant at my client's expense that I think that that's uncalled for. I think it's not necessary. The entire project is in keeping with all zoning requirements. It's not asking for anything other than what we're allowed to have. And if we can make the neighbors more comfortable with what we're proposing by an on-site meeting, I'm more than happy to do that.
Thank you. Is there any other public comments, either in person or online?
We both have comments.
Okay, I see two coming to the podium, please.
First
Please
of all,
announce your name
Mr.
and-
Baumann, this is Alan Saggy again. We weren't requesting trees to be put up behind our rear fences. We were asking, is that what you're planning? So we weren't contradicting ourselves. Secondly, the 4-foot addition of a tall roof is going to cut out a lot of light, especially to the Alberigi's backyard. So I don't know what you're going to do about that. I mean, you're welcome to come over and see it from my backyard, from their backyard, and the whole commission is invited to come see the project from our point of view. That's what I'd like to say.
Let me respond to that before the next comment. The line of
Excuse me, Chair
eucalyptus trees-
Cormany, we need to make sure that members of the public are addressing the commission and not each other.
Okay.
The line of
Mr. Baumann,
trees.
can you hold on just a moment, please? Okay, Mr. Baumann, can you please respond to that comment, and then we have one more comment which you can address.
Yeah, there is a very tall alley of trees on the west side of our property that far extend the height of our ridge. That's what's going to block their light, not our roof. They're already in shade, as is our property, from this huge alley of trees between us and the property to the west of us. That's what's causing their shade. Our roof is not going to take light away from their property.
Okay, we have another person at the podium for comment. Please
Yes,
state
okay,
your name.
this is Mike Alberigi, 367 Las Casitas Court again. We have no problem with this project, to tell you right now, except what we were talking about. When this first started, we went over there and Mr. Thornley met us, nice man, and said, this is not going to be extended. The lower roof is going to be extended. Now we're getting another 4 feet of the higher roof that we didn't know about. So that's our issue. So I take the invitation, if we can just meet there, we'll get this behind us and let you go forward. I know it's costing a lot of money, and we want to work with you, but we would like to meet you there and maybe put a stick up. I asked them to put some sticks up to see where the roof was, but they said it was too late for me to ask for that. So maybe we just get one big stick, go look at it, move it over there, and let's get this over with. And we'll see how this is going to work out. But we're open to it. I mean, we're not, it's not we want to stop anything here. We just want to get this so we're not totally blocked in. We just want to work with them.
Understood.
Okay, that's
Mr. Baumann,
understandable,
can you hold on a moment,
and
please?
happy to do that. And I'm sure the contractor would be more than happy to put up a story pole to show where that ridge is going to be.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to close public comment on this. We need to move on. And I'd like to throw it back to the commission for vote on next steps. Would somebody like to make a resolution on how to proceed?
It sounds like we need to create a well-crafted motion that includes a lot of different things. And perhaps Wendy and Christine can help us with this a little bit.
Well, through the chair, I was thinking that you could make a motion to approve the project as proposed. And if during the appeal period, the applicant was unable to meet with the neighbors, then the neighbors could appeal the decision.
Seems like a reasonable suggestion. Would somebody like to craft that and make it formal, please? One of the commissioners?
I'll try, and Wendy, you can correct me. I move that we approve the application as submitted with the recommendation that the architectural team and the neighbors provide a time of consultation during the appeal period.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll. Roll call, please.
Yes, Commissioner Amar,
Aye.
Commissioner Randolph,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Burt.
I have a question. before-
She has a question.
Question. As far as, can you explain to them what this means if this gets approved, that there's an appeal process? Can you explain what the process would be?
Yes, so after this commission makes a decision, there's a 15-day appeal period where you can appeal the decision to the city council.
Thank you, Wendy. Appreciate that. Commissioner
uh,
Randolph?
But we are, we're messing up our vote here, but
We can start again. It's okay.
we're recommending that a meeting between the parties occur during, prior to that end of that 15-day appeal period.
Correct.
So that would
I hope
require a
that's-
modification
I hope that's
of that.
clear in the motion.
Yes,
Yeah.
Commissioner Randolph's motion was to approve the project as submitted with the recommendation that the applicant and the neighbors meet during the 15-day appeal period to work out any issues.
Okay, for clarity, Wendy, can you repeat the vote so far?
So Commissioner Amar was yes, Commissioner Randolph was yes, Commissioner Johnson was yes, and then we got to Vice Chair Burt
Aye.
and Vice Chair Cormany.
I agree. It's aye.
Thank you. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you for your patience. I hope this finds some resolve.
So I'm going to take a moment and on the Zoom share my screen so you can actually see the presentation. So just give me one moment.
Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a technical break to get some more information. Thank you for your patience. We're still working through some technical challenges. Please bear with us.
I think we're ready to go.
Thank you. It's nice to have a visual. Agenda item 7.4 is a sign review for the Chevrolet dealership here in town. Is staff report, please.
Thank you, Chair Cormany and members of the commission. This is a review of a sign application for vehicle sales establishment, the Silvera Chevrolet, and a design review application for Silvera Chevrolet located at 687 West Napa Street. So this project is located on West Napa Street between 6th and 7th Street West. It's surrounded by commercial and a medium-density residential. In 2004, the Design Review Commission approved a new awning for the dealership. Later that year, the commission approved changing the smaller sign face on the freestanding sign from Bob Noble Chevrolet to Espasti as a temporary measure, with the condition that an alternative sign proposal involving replacement of the existing freestanding sign with a sign that complied with the current sign regulations within 60 days. And this decision was appealed to the City Council. And the City Council ultimately determined that the practice of changing out the name of a business is normal maintenance and doesn't trigger the requirement to bring all the signs on the property in conformance with the current standards. So at this time, 3 new signs are proposed: the Chevrolet sign, the Silvera sign, and the certified service sign. So the Chevrolet sign is 48 square feet. It's internally illuminated. It's proposed on the front of the building over the main entrance facing West Napa Street. It would consist of a plastic and aluminum material. Copy on the sign consists of white lettering with a gold bow tie symbol. The sign would be illuminated from dusk to 1 hour after the standard hours of operation. And normal business hours are from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturday 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Sunday 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The Silvera sign is 21 square feet, internally illuminated. It's a wall sign proposed on the front of the building over a bay of windows to the east of the Chevrolet sign. The sign would consist of a plastic and aluminum material, and copy on the sign would consist of blue lettering. The sign would also be illuminated from dusk to 1 hour after the standard business hours. And the certified service sign is 18 square feet, internally illuminated. It's proposed over the vehicle service entry facing 6th Street West. The sign would consist of a plastic illuminated aluminum material, and copy on the sign consists of blue lettering, and it would be illuminated from dusk to 1 hour after business close. Posted address numbers that are 12 inches high require review by this commission, and as in the last project, the fire marshal is requiring this. So we'll want to have the applicant install street address signs with lettering of 12 inches in height, and this is included in the conditions of approval. So with regard to the sign regulations and illuminated signs, where they're permitted, they shall not exceed 27 square feet in area. And the Chevrolet sign is proposed at 48 square feet, and it exceeds the allowable sign area. So staff is recommending that the sign be reduced to 21 square feet or eliminate the proposed illumination. And this requirement has been included as a condition of approval. With regard to the aggregate sign area, based on the property's primary frontage and secondary frontage, the maximum allowable aggregate sign area for the property is 258 square feet. The total aggregate sign area for the property would be 291 square feet. And the proposal is not consistent with this requirement. And staff is recommending that the aggregate sign area be reduced to not exceed 258 square feet, and this requirement has been included as a condition of approval. The no sign shall exceed 48 square feet in total area. The proposed wall signs are 48 square feet in area or less. The existing freestanding sign is exempt from this requirement because it's considered to be legally non-conforming. So the proposal is consistent with this requirement. And with regard to the number of signs, a maximum of 2 signs are normally permitted for any one business, but since this property has a primary frontage greater than 200 square feet, an additional sign can be allowed. So staff is recommending that the number of signs be reduced to no more than 3. And this requirement has been included as a condition of approval. And so here's a drawing of the signs. You've got the Silvera sign, Chevrolet sign, and the certified service sign. And this is a photo example of what it would look like. This project is not subject to Planning Commission review, so this commission has discretion over the project. With regard to design review, the proposed external building modifications consist of removing the existing awning, fabric awning. A national iconic main element entry will be installed and flanked by horizontal banding in a smooth aluminum finish that wraps back to the service block of the building. A new storefront system consisting of 4.5-inch by 2-inch aluminum frame with custom sized clear glazing is proposed. And a new service area canopy is proposed on the east side of the building, which will extend 15 feet from the building. New paint colors are proposed. The new entry element and canopy and main body trim is proposed to feature ACMI 2 aluminum composite metal, Alcabon bow tie blue. The accent trim and entry element interior is proposed to also feature ACM 3 aluminum composite metal, Alubond natural brushed 50 Vive. And the main body on the north elevation and west elevation entry element is proposed to feature ACMI 1 and SF1 aluminum composite metal and SF Alcubond silver metal cool. The main body on the southwest and east elevations and area around the north elevation windows is proposed to feature EPI exterior paint, Benjamin Moore, white diamond. And again, this is a picture of what it would look like. 2 new light features are proposed. So we've got 3 Guardco wall-mounted LED wall sconces and 20 each Guardo pole-mounted LED small light area lights. And a lighting plan demonstrating the dispersal of light was included in the staff report. And this is a picture of the wall-mounted sconce. And this is the pole-mounted fixture. With regard to building height and setbacks, the vehicle sales establishment is located in an existing commercial building and no new additional building area is proposed. A 15-foot front and street side setback is required. The entry element and service area canopy shall be set back at least 15 feet from the front and the street side property lines. And this has been included as a condition of approval. So there are certain findings this commission must make in order to approve the sign application and certain findings to make the design review, to approve the design review. And staff's recommending that this commission approve the sign application and design review application subject to findings and conditions of approval. And that concludes staff's report. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Much better when you can actually see it. That's helpful, so thanks for the technology. Are there any questions for staff at this time from the commission?
Chair, I have a quick question
Commissioner
regarding the signage as far as the reduction that you had mentioned. Has the applicant been advised of the reductions and that?
Yes,
in
I
the
let them
findings?
know before the staff report was posted that staff would be making those recommendations.
Did they have any?
No, they didn't respond.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for staff at this time from the commission? Seeing none. Is the applicant available for comment, either virtually or in person?
He's virtual.
Okay, the applicant would like to respond via Zoom. Give us a moment, please. Okay, I believe
Good evening. Everyone hear me?
we can hear you. Thank you.
Great. My name's Henry Wicks. I work with Wicks Architecture in Santa Rosa and San Antonio, Texas. We are pleased to present the project tonight on behalf of the Severas. Like to thank Wendy Atkins for working with us, and maybe some of our recent communications haven't gotten through, but we did try to respond to some of the signage issues, which I'll get into in a minute. Also like to thank Chairman and fellow commissioners. I appreciate your public service very much. I sit on the City of Santa Rosa Design Review Board, and I know the time commitment that you all have, and I see you've got a very full agenda even beyond our number 4 item. So I'll be quick in my presentation, and would rather take and field comments from you and keep my presentation short. But I'll try to cover a few things. Is it possible to get our design review package up, Wendy?
Well, I can't display the presentation and hear you speak at the same time. So you can
Just
share.
for clarity, we just saw the whole presentation visually, so we have seen it, but we can't do Zoom with you and the design at the same time because of technology limits.
Can I share my screen?
Yes, you may.
Bear with me. I
That's
think
fine.
these trying times test all of our technological expertise.
This is part of the hybrid mode. We'll deal with it. It's fine.
And just trying to see where I can share. Wendy, you got a clue for me on where?
I can share, this is Michaelia. I can share my screen. I have the picture of, at least the color picture of the front of the building, if that's what you're aiming at.
Well, I was going to go a little deeper than that.
Okay,
but
okay.
I can actually speak to that if you wouldn't mind sharing that.
Sure.
There
you go.
Okay, we can see it now. Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Michaela.
Great. Well, you have an opportunity this evening to approve a very contemporary corporate design that I would love to take credit for the majority of this, but it's really derived from out of Detroit. They're national branding and design architects for Chevrolet and GM, and we've applied their design elements that are required for all the dealerships and tried to apply it to a very old metal building. And in doing so, we're going to actually have to remove the front 25% of the building to put this new facade up that will consist of mainly Alucobond panels and storefront window systems. The Alucobond is what Silvera is written on in silver, and it wraps 25 feet back onto the heading on the east elevation and west elevation. And then you can see the main iconic entry element that has the Chevrolet bow tie and branding element on, as well as that a new entry would be created below that. So we're not adding any square footage, but we're rebuilding a good chunk of the building to achieve compliance with corporate design guidelines. If you kind of squint your eyes, you can see some reference to kind of the Western storefront in a much more contemporary vein. I put in our design narrative how that kind of relates, and there's some pictures in there, but it hopefully the design stands on its own, and well, actually, let me go on a tangent here. You can see the service. We're creating a new service canopy on the east end of the building. This would give an opportunity for someone, when they're coming to drop off their car for service and or repair work, that they've got a canopy in which to drive under. You know, hopefully it'll start raining in Sonoma County again soon, and there'll be a need to have some protection from the elements as you get out of your car. So that's what that left side addition is. We've since moved for structural. We wanted to create a cantilever and separate this overhang canopy structure from the main building. And in order to do that, our structural engineer advised us to move those columns from the corners into about a midway point to a little bit closer than the building. So we technically would be, building structure would be 15 feet back, but the overhang structure above would be closer than your 15 foot for that 6th Street west elevation. And depending on how you interpret the zoning code, it's front yard setbacks are 20, side yards are 0 in this zoning, and rear are also 0. So we're trying to be respectful in both our structural solution and pushing the actual building that goes down to the ground back on that area. And we tried to write that and send that to Wendy for consideration this evening, but apparently it didn't get through. The signage, I think, is another big issue, and I think it gets down to proportion, and reducing the bow tie and the Chevrolet smaller than that, I think is going to look disproportionate and would not be our desire nor GM's to reduce that below the 48 square feet that we're requesting. I think also considering the size of the site and the amount of frontage, we've got 300 plus feet along Napa and another 300 feet along 6th Street. There's and the back street, which I forget right now, but adds another 200 lineal or 300 lineal feet. So there's over 900 lineal feet of frontage that this site and this project incorporates. I think that's about what I'd like to say about the project. Again, I think it's an opportunity to embrace something contemporary and something a little different than the mission style and standard barrel tile roofs of all the other buildings in Sonoma. I can appreciate them for when they were done and in the history that they were done, but I'd like you to consider moving forward with something that is 21st century oriented, and be glad to field any questions you may have.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments. At this point, are there any questions from the commission for the applicant? Commissioner Randolph, I can't see you, so I don't know what your position might be, but none in the room so far. Stand by. We have a question for Commissioner Johnson.
Just curious if that blue portion that you're adding up front, I see that behind there's a lower level to it, and then the face of it is a little bit higher, where Chevrolet is. Is it, if you're concerned about the size of the sign being, cut down a little bit, is there a way to cut down maybe some of the height of that so that it's proportionately a little easier on the eye?
Yeah, these are how would I say it? They're pre-manufactured by a manufacturer in the Midwest, and they're shipped to each dealership location. So you kind of pick a size, and that's what's delivered. This is one of the smallest sizes that they have available, if not the smallest size they have available. It's not a very big dealership, as I'm sure you're all familiar with. You drive by it probably 10 times more often than I do. We just finished the Pets Lifeline project down on 8th Street East, and got to know a little bit more about Sonoma as we went down and did construction reviews. And I drove by this site quite a bit and saw how much in need of a remodel it needs. But so to answer your question, hands tied a little bit in a polite no.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments from the commission to the applicant? I would like to I do have a question. You talk about the cantilever on the service sign and moving the posts forward. Isn't that about where you're going to open the door of your car? Is that, you're putting the post in a position right where you're going to open a door into it?
Very, very observant, but there's enough width there that, it's like pulling in your garage. It's going to be far enough spread as long as you're kind of centered on the 20-foot wide roll-up door. Then you should have ample room to open your door.
Okay, thank you. Are there any public comments either online via Zoom or in the room presently? We need a moment to check for the online version. I see no public comments at this point. At this point, I'm going to close the meeting to the public and bring it back to the commission for discussion. And we'll start with Commissioner Randolph, just online, please.
Sorry, I do see one hand,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry, hang on. I'm going to go back and open the meeting to the public. We do have a comment. So is this an online comment?
Yes. Bennett, are you wanting to talk on this item?
Mr. Bennett Martin, are you interested in commenting on this item?
Yes, if that's appropriate.
Sure, go ahead.
I just would like to say I'm Bennett Martin, 18837 Robinson Road. Spent many years on the Design Review Commission and the Planning Commission in the city of Sonoma. And I would like to point out one project that's across the street, which is the Chevron Station, which came in with a very corporate look, tried to modify that look, and it did not work. And there was a lot of public appeal to that project. I would just like to go back to putting a very corporate, sleek look onto Napa Street. And that's really all I'd like to say. And I'd like the commission to look at that the corporate shove down your throat, basically, this is what we do, this is what we have, is not always the right answer. That's really what I'd like to say. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other comments from the public on this item 7.4? Seeing none, I'm going to close the discussion to the public and bring it back to the commission. Now I'm going to ask Commissioner Randolph your perspective.
Thank you, Chair Carmody. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Wicks, and congratulations on the Pets Lifeline building. That's going to be a well-loved space. It already is. So I'm pretty excited about that space. When I look at this, personally, I think it's fresh and great looking. I don't think I would feel that way if if the whole street looked like this. But I think that this is a very good looking, upgraded expression of this style. And I think the color is fantastic. I think that blue is great. And I have to comment that I don't know how many years I've been looking at Chevrolet and I never knew that was a bow tie. I don't know why I didn't know that, but now I can't unsee the bow tie. Anyhow, I would defer to my other commissioners on this. The square footage is going to be a complex, or an issue, because we've got a problem with the size there.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Chair Cormany. Yeah, I'd also like to add that, we've dealt with national rebranding and town before and in historic town and have found compromises in doing so at times. I understand that things come out of Detroit and they really have no connection to pretty much anywhere that they revamp their properties and their businesses. But I don't mind the look of the building. I just, we're moving in a new direction in town, and I know that having been on Santa Rosa's Design Review Historic Preservation Commission, you probably understand that we're really working towards building conformance, getting things back in line, and setting a good standard. So I like the colors. The design's okay with me, but I'm really going to be kind of a stickler, at least in my opinion, on the size of the signs and how they comply.
Thank you, appreciate that. Vice Chair Burt.
If anything needs a facelift, it's that building and that whole block. So thank you very much for this beautiful facelift. I am conflicted about the signage as far as on how large the lettering is, and I also understand that these are quote unquote templates that you're receiving from the sign company. So I don't think it's something that's easy if we were to ask them to reduce the size of the lettering, because that would, I know I would like to ask you what would that involve, but I think from what you said before, this is something that's already pre-made and sent over and assembled. Other than that, I think it's a great project. It is a car lot, and it fits along that corridor, and that whole corridor needs a facelift. So I'm glad it's starting with this. So
Thank you for your comments. Commissioner Marr.
Yes, I'd like to thank you for your presentation. It was very helpful, and it's nice to meet a commissioner from another town. So I am a little bit more fond of this project than I was coming into this meeting due to your very thorough presentation of everything. So I'm going to start with the design, and I think the positives are that it is it's an improvement, bringing it up to the 21st century here. The existing building is, I don't know how they're still using it, honestly. The metal on the front, I wasn't aware that it was metal at first, and that really, really helps me. It's not going to look like a cement block, at least. But it still is very blocky, and I know that you're saying this is iconic from Detroit, and I don't know how that matches Sonoma at all. And if we're preserving any of the history, the current building is the metal kind of industrial farm house barn, almost like a hangar kind of situation. And at times this design brings that back with the big door on the east facing elevation, and just the kind of the mass of the main part of the building. My problem that I still have is the blue, I guess that would be the icon, the blue icon in the front. For me, it's too much for the building itself, and it's going to just be the focal point of that whole corridor now. The color also makes it stand out so much more, and it's kind of funny to me that it's the bow tie symbol. I didn't realize that it's interesting to learn that. But the bow tie like kind of implies a little bit of elegance, and so I'd love to see this project kind of like tone itself down, similar kind of to how Spark minimized a little bit for us. So for the signs, I don't know if this would be at all possible is to illuminate them another way except for internally. It might just fix everything, and if you could do it in a modern way that would be consistent with the rest of the design, maybe it would help your design problem, and it would quiet things down without all of the illumination, but it might not be consistent with your corporate codes and all that. So excuse me. So just finishing up, we've had other automobile places in town, like Jack's Filling Station, kind of going back to like Radiator Springs vibe. And it's just so charming, and the new brew pub down the street is kind of bringing that farmhouse into the modern century. So I don't know if maybe it's accents that you need to bring the blue cantilevered part, maybe make it out of metal or a different material so it doesn't look so, just something to soften it up a little bit needs, I think. And I'll stop there. Thank you. Oh, I did say about the signs, right? So yeah, I vote to either reduce or to illuminate them in another sort of fashion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Amar. And I would like to comment on, when I first saw this, I was happy to see it because I believe that spot and that building needs some attention. It is definitely not in a very current, appealing situation. It's rather withered. My first impression of the silver and blue, I think it's actually appropriate. I understand the branding, and I think there's probably some design constraints because those are preformed, predetermined sizes. That said, I do believe the signage could be reduced and meet conformity with what we have outlined in our requirements and still be effective. I think there isn't a whole lot that would, I mean, if you reduced each one of those by 25% or what it would take, it doesn't seem to me that's a huge deal in the impact of that signage. And I would like to reiterate what Commissioner Johnson mentioned, that we're kind of clamping down on our sign requirements because there's been a lot of variance over the past and a lot of exceptions, and we're trying to bring them back into conformity. And I don't see any reason why this couldn't be one of those examples where a little bit of reduction could bring it into conformity and be more consistent with what we're looking for in this design review. And that's my comments on it. Would anybody like to prepare a motion?
Before we go to motion, may I make a
Commissioner
further
Randolph,
comment?
sure. Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm curious to the applicant what kind of compromise options you have for responding to some of these comments. I'm kind of staring at the picture, trying to imagine some things myself, but I'm just curious about what sort of leeway you have.
Can you still hear me?
We can.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for respectfully giving us the opportunity to respond. I'll do the easy one first, the signage. What staff is recommending, or you condition this to the main bow tie and Chevrolet sign is going from 48 feet to 21 square feet. That's more than half its size. And I don't think that's appropriate. And I realize that your sign guidelines say that no sign shall be larger than 27 square feet. And I'm not sure why we're going down to 21. Maybe Wendy can add some clarification to that before I go further.
Sure, through the chair. So our sign ordinance says that interiorly illuminated signs are limited to 21 square feet in area.
Okay. But the maximum size of any sign shall be 27 feet, or am I getting confused?
The maximum size is 48 square feet.
Okay, so we are in conformance with the sign size itself. It's just the illumination that's the issue.
It's the fact that the signs are illuminated. They don't meet the size requirements.
Okay, so if it wasn't internally illuminated, it was illuminated with a up light, then it would conform?
You could go as large as 32 square feet in area.
Okay. And you can probably tell I'm not a sign guy. We normally have a sign company that we bring on board as a consultant to kind of list, but we typically bring them on board after the design's approved. We're not used to the process of having both combined into one. An automobile dealership, as you can imagine, is very important. So I guess you could approve it, the sign package with conditions that are laid out, and then we probably go through an appeals process on that. The same with the design. If you are strongly not in approval of so much blue or other things, you could either deny our request tonight and we come back with another design that we work through with corporate, or make some appeals towards what you would limit our design to do. So hopefully that makes sense, and would love to seek full approvals. I don't think we're going to get there with the signage, but I'm not sure what kind of other design ideas we would come back with for a less slick and less corporate design. I mean, it's just kind of what is mandated, and we could try to cut some new ground and make some compromises to fit the historical nature of your town. It's something I read in your design guidelines, but wanted to take the tact and approach of giving you something fresh and something not only 21st century, but something that will be iconic within the town, to let all the other historical things be what they are and stand for what they are.
So we appreciate that. We appreciate your concern and understanding, and also your knowledge with the situation. So at this time, I'd like to close the comment and present a motion so we can move ahead. Would somebody like to propose a motion?
I guess I would.
Chair Johnson?
I guess I would propose that we approve the application based on the conditions and the findings of staff, unless you're open to continuing this item and taking the feedback that we've, presented thus far, and maybe talking to corporate and maybe coming up with a new solution, whether it's the non-illumination or configuration changes to make things more compliant. But I guess that would be a decision that you'd want to make. And if you want to go down the appeal road, then I guess we would just continue on with crafting the motion right now.
But we have to make a motion one way or another. So
Okay. Well, I move that we approve the application with the subject to the conditions and the findings set forth by staff.
do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Get a roll call, please.
Commissioner Amar,
Nay.
Commissioner Randolph,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson,
Aye.
Vice Chair Burt,
Aye.
and Chair Cormany.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes 4-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope all the other items go much quicker this evening. And again, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
No worries.
Okay, moving on. Next, we're going to talk about item number 7.5, which is another permit, and also, this is the design of a duplex. So, can we get a staff report, please?
Thank you. Absolutely. I just need a minute to pull up my presentation.
You let me know when you're ready.
I will.
Okay. You are?
No, I will let you know.
You will, not you are.
That is the wrong one. Crap.
Just bear with us for a moment. We're getting some technicals figured out.
All right, I'm ready. All right, So the application before you this evening is going to eventually be going to the Planning Commission. So the motion this evening would be a recommendation from Design Review Historic Preservation Commission to the Planning Commission. The eventual entitlements will include a use permit and a merger in addition to the design review that's being presented this evening. The project is an addition to the Sweetwater Spectrum facility. And these are two existing legal lots of record and parcels, and the addresses are 730 and 734 West Spain Street. And these are different parcels than the primary Sweetwater campus. Here we are on West Spain Street. So the two parcels are identical in size, about a quarter acre. 730 West Spain has approximately 130 feet of frontage along West Spain Street. And 734 is accessed over 730 via a driveway and access easement. Again, as I mentioned, this is separate and connected to the main Sweetwater development. Both sites are largely flat, and the only development includes the existing fence and entry gate and an on-ground solar array on 734 West Main Street. The existing campus serves 16 residents in four-bedroom residences. There are some communal facilities, including a kitchen, dining area, and outdoor facilities, pool, greenhouse, gardening areas. It's located in the Northwest Planning Area. And the purpose of the application is in order to expand the facility to accommodate 4 additional residents. The facility's been around for a little over 10 years now and has been very successful. And this is going to provide a new home for individuals that are very excited to be moving into the facility. So the duplex would be 3,194 square feet and would add 4 bedrooms. Also, down the line will be a merger that will combine the 2 parcels so that the duplex is right in the middle and gives ample space to neighbors and to the residences. As far as staffing goes, there will be approximately 2 additional staff members that may be needed to accommodate the additional individuals, but it really depends on the individual needs. The Sweetwater staff won't be increasing, but it would be contract staff based on the 4 individual needs of the new residents. And here's the site plan. The duplex would be located towards the front and would address West Main Street. The color materials board. I think the elevations do a little bit better job of painting the picture. Here's the east and north, and the west and south. Here's some proposed lighting. And the design review findings. Staff's recommendation is that the Design Review and Historic Preservation Commission recommend approval of the design review to the Planning Commission. Are there any questions?
I have one question for staff. So the existing lots are essentially vacant except for a solar array, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, they're it's a back exit into the facility, so there's a access from 5th Street West and from West Main Street. So there's the fence, there's a gate, and you can pull in from the back. Sometimes they use it for a little produce stand right off of West Main Street. And then there's the driveways there already, and you kind of drive up, and it looks mostly like a field. There's some trees that are in front of the fence.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? Including online? I don't know if we can see Commissioner. Where are we at with that?
I don't.
Commissioner Randolph, are you
Yeah, let me transfer.
there?
You should
Questions?
hear her now.
Okay. Any questions from Commissioner Randolph?
I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Is the applicant available? Seeing yes, they're present. Would you like to come to the podium and tell us a little bit about your project and introduce yourself, please?
Hi,
My name is Mark Jackson. My wife Patty and I and one other family were the original visionaries and founders of Sweetwater Spectrum. I served as the board chairman of the nonprofit for 6 years. I was the project manager for the original development, about 10 years ago. And our son Christopher actually was the first resident, and he's lived there happily since 2013. It's been almost exactly 10 years since I was last in front of the Design Review Commission to talk about our project. But during that period, the community has started to serve as a model, both nationwide and around the world, for a housing option for people with autism. We've inspired over a dozen similar projects that have been built or are being planned. Hundreds of families from around the world and the country have come to visit the property, learn what we did, how we did it, and it's been a we receive inquiries every day pretty much. But so as a result, I do a lot of consulting for other families, and it's been a great, satisfying second career for me. But when I speak with families, the first thing I tell them is that you have to find a community in a town that is open-minded and accepting and understands what we're doing. And I thank our lucky stars every day that we found Sonoma is the home for this project. I always call it out as it's an example of what can be done when you partner with people that are willing to listen and work with you. This site, I'm not sure if you knew, was actually owned by the city of Sonoma. It had been targeted for affordable housing years ago, and it didn't work for certain reasons. The property was put up for sale, and the city council, in their wisdom, chose our offer over a number of other offers that were more traditional housing builders, and they gave us a chance to get this done. So I want to keep it brief, but I want to thank the people of Sonoma, the city council, the planning commission, design review, the building department, everybody that's been involved with us over the last 10 years. It's made a tremendous impact on people across the country. We had a 5-page article in the New York Times about this project. We're fortunate beyond words to have our children live here, and thank you for taking the opportunity this evening to listen to our modest expansion plans for the site. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that. Any other comments from the public, either in person or virtual? Please, it's fine. Just come to the podium and state your name.
Good evening. My name is George Bevan. I'm principal of Bevan Associates, local architecture firm here. We're at 369 West Napa, our office. I just wanted to provide additional context for the project. Thank you to staff collaborating with us on the project over the last several months. Thanks to Ms. Tierney for a great staff report. We were commissioned to design this project and have spent a lot of effort to field comments from clients, residents, and board members. There's a lot of people behind this, and it's humbling and a little intimidating actually of a project to understand so many needs and to make sure we put a good foot forward with longevity, life cycle materials, and make it look great as well. So it's a simple building with traditional lines, contemporary accents. Again, material decisions were based on aesthetics and life cycle costs pertaining to maintenance, while still keeping real charming residential feel once you're in the campus, without it being institutional, right? So that was really important to us. And then, like most of our work, responds to allowing natural light, passive cooling and heating to the occupants. And then, it was originally slated for just one parcel. We're joining 2 parcels. Really happy about that from a context standpoint. Ample areas for exterior living and opening indoor-outdoor living, things like that. Overall, adding a structure to successful campus was an honor. It's a great organization. I have 2 nephews who are autistic. I look forward to watching this group continue to grow along with its residents within the fabric of our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Any other comments, either in person or virtual?
Yes, we have a comment from a member of the public, Matthew Tipple. You can go ahead and speak.
Go ahead, Mr. Tipple.
Can you guys hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, excellent. So I'll try and keep this brief, but I am Matthew Tipple. I'm reside at 734 First Street West in Sonoma, and I felt more than obligated to provide a brief comment on this project. I served on the Planning Commission when this project was approved. Just for the record, it was approved unanimously. And I also served as a board member for Sweetwater Spectrum for 6 years, and also as the board chair for 2 years. I could not be more proud of this organization, who are just a fantastic community partner. I fully support the this expansion of one building for 4 additional residents for an overwhelming need, and so I would highly encourage you to support this project as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We appreciate your comments. Are there any other public comments?
No, there's not.
Okay. At this time, I'm going to close the meeting to the public and bring back to the commission for discussion. Let's start with Commissioner Randolph.
Thank you, Chair Cormany. Thank you for your presentations, the people who spoke at the podium. I so much appreciate the comments that you made. I actually work at a children's mental health agency, and autism is one of the things that we work with. I'm very aware of how important this project is and how exemplary it is. I feel really proud that we have this community in our town. I think this is a terrific addition to what you already have going, and I would fully support the application.
Thank you. We appreciate that comment. Commissioner Amar.
Yes, I agree with Commissioner Randolph. This is just such a gorgeous, stylish, great cause here, and I'm so thrilled with everything. The design itself, I love. It's a really neat interpretation of the modern farmhouse, but making it large scale in the duplex with these little with the squares on the side. It's very interesting within the clear story window. So lucky folks who get to live there, and yeah, anything I can do to support you guys, I'm more than happy. And thank you. It's an honor to have you guys choose us for your project, and such a great way to honor those folks who might not have such great opportunities in their life. And so thank you for all you've done. Beautiful design, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Commissioner Burt.
The main reason I moved to Sonoma is I have a sister who grew up at the developmental center, and we've been coming every Sunday, and you're right about the community and how accepting it was for her and for our family, and be able to take her out on walks and all of that. So you're right about the community here. And I understand how important housing is, because we just recently went through that with her situation. And she was able to move into a beautiful home in Santa Rosa, very similar to the design that you're putting here, and how important it was to have space and light and an area for privacy for them, because they don't like change, and it's about consistency and all that. And I see that the way that when you were talking about on your narrative, I was reading how it was important that instead of having the roommates, that everybody needed to have their own space, and how important that was. So I was pleased to see that Bevan and Associates did the architectural, because I have a high regard for them, and they did a fantastic job. And I congratulate you on your accomplishments so far, and look forward to getting this going. So congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate your comments. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Cormany. Yeah, I'm in agreement. I can't see a better use for this property and the two lots that we're going to be merging, or you're asking to merge. So it's a great organization doing great things for great people, and I'm happy that you're here in Sonoma as well. And I would be honored to recommend to the Planning Commission to approve this and categorically exempt the property.
Thank you, Commissioner Johnson. First off, I can't believe it's been 10 years. I remember watching the initial construction. And I was always a fan of the way it was addressed from the beginning and watched it when it was being built. Even down to the fencing and the details and the gates and everything, it seems like there's a great attention to detail. And I don't anticipate that it's going to change. And from the proposed drawings, I would see there's a consistency there. One thing is I really like the clear story. I'm a big believer in natural light. I think that's a really nice addition. It kind of brings a farmhouse into it as well. Merging of the lots makes a lot of sense. Adding some more capacity makes sense. I can't see any reason why there'd be opposition to this. I think it's a great project and we'll be happy to welcome it into our world. So you guys have done a great job. I appreciate it. Would somebody like to make a motion and we can move forward with this?
I'd like to move that we make a recommendation to the Planning Commission to approve to approve the merger and to also approve the categorical exemption pursuant to the CEQA guidelines regarding new construction.
I second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Amar,
Aye.
Commissioner Randolph,
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson, Vice Chair Burt,
Aye.
Chair Cormany.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Congratulations on your project. Really nice. Okay, moving on. We're on to the next agenda item 7.6, which I will be recusing myself from due to proximity. We're going to have to welcome Commissioner Jeremy to the, I guess, the virtual dais at this point, right? So, Commissioner Jeremy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Chair.
Okay. And I need to remove myself from the room and we'll continue.
And Vice Chair Burt is going to be chairing this portion of the meeting.
Okay, the next item on the agenda, item number 7.6, is to discuss, consider, and take possible action to recommend to the Planning Commission the approval of a design review and sign permit applications of Bennett Martin to construct a new restaurant, microbrewery, and 2-bedroom apartments at 899 Broadway, including action to approve a categorical exemption pursuant to CEQA guidelines sections 15332. Have the staff report.
All right, well, in the interest of our very, very long agenda, I am going to fly through the presentation because this was continued from June, I believe. So there are very minor changes to the project that was before you previously, and the primary concern was the issue of the signage. And the roof sign has been eliminated. And now what is being proposed on the south elevation are these 3 red BH logo signs. And then a larger one up on the apex of the building. The colors, the materials are the same. The size of the building is the same. There was some correspondence from neighbors raising concerns about some use permit issues that will be addressed by the Planning Commission, notably the size of the residential component and some issues with the potential use of the property. But again, that is a use permit issue that will be discussed at the Planning Commission. So the proposed landscaping, lighting, and here's the signage. So the findings of approval. And the motion before the commission is to recommend approval of the sign permit and design review to the planning commission. Any questions?
Is the applicant here?
Can you please promote Bennett?
I'm going to promote Erica Harris as well. Okay, they're both in. So do you want to ask if there's any questions of staff before we bring, have the applicant speak?
No. And who are the applicants?
Oh, great. So Erica Harris and Bennett Martin have been promoted, so you can go ahead and speak when you're ready.
Can they hear you?
We can see you. Can you unmute yourselves? It's me.
Here, the applicants.
Okay, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So in the last meeting, 2 items came up. Was primarily the signage was the first issue. We were over the signage allotment and we were requesting an exception, and we went back based on the comments that were provided. One of which was kind of the biggest sign. There was the roof signs that were clear that was not, I want to say acceptable, but we just thought it would be better to take them off. So we completely took them off. And the second one was the antique sign that would be renovated. And actually, I think it was Marcella, Commissioner Randolph, who mentioned it be in the inside. Well, that's where it's going. We decided to put that sign in the inside. And so what we did do is redo the entire signage program, which brought the signs down. And now we are under the signage program for that site by almost 50 square feet. So we are completely under the required and are completely requiring or in line with the sign requirements. That was one item. The second item that came up was regarding the lighting. We did provide a new map for the site that kind of shows where the lighting falls on the property line. And if you do look at that map, it's kind of consistent with what I mentioned in the last meeting, that the light levels all the way through the parking area on the backside of the north side of the property go from almost non-existent to the highest level that's there is probably about 5.3 lumens, which is still extremely low. But along the fence line, it is really in the ones and below the ones, and just right where the 2 light fixtures are, it's up a little bit, but again, that is directly behind buildings and trees, and I don't think it's going to be an issue. But that was a clarity item that we wanted to throw in there because it wasn't there, even though I think we discussed it thoroughly in our last meeting. So real big change, what you're seeing here is the compliance in the sign requirements that you suggested. So that's what we did. And that was really the only change. We didn't make any other change at all. So.
Okay, thank you very
And
much.
you'll see that in the package. We changed the signage tables to comply with what the requirements are. So happy to answer any questions if anybody would like to discuss that one.
Are there any questions for the applicant? No? And then we have another speaker.
Yes, I have a question. It's a really small one.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much for your new work. And I was just curious on the red signs that are on the south elevation. Are they all supposed to be BH? Because a couple of them look like they're BN, and I just didn't know what that meant.
No, so what that is
I'm sure it's something fun.
it's basically going to be the name of the business, right? So it will be in that sign. It's not just the two letters, but what we're presenting is the size of the letter and the size of the sign.
Got it.
Name in the inside might adjust, but it's not going to change color. It will not change size, and the letters will be the same.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have another applicant, Erica. Can you unmute yourself?
Hi.
Hi.
I don't really have anything to contribute beyond what Bennett said. I think he said it. But thank you for considering and taking the time to look at our plans.
Okay, thank you very much. And do we have anybody from the public that would like to speak on this?
No one has raised their hands, and there is no written comment. Thank you.
Okay, so we bring it back to the commission. And we'll start with Commissioner Amar.
Thank you, Mr. Martin, for presenting, and I still feel the same about this project I did last time. I really love it. Thank you for adjusting your signs and working with us, and I look forward to seeing your progress, and good luck, and thank you.
Commissioner Randolph?
Thank you, Commissioner Burt. Yes, I agree with Commissioner Amar. This is just like such a breath of fresh air on that corner, and it's going to be really fun to see what happens. It makes me smile every time I see the plans. So thank you so much for working with us, and I'm glad that the big sign's going to, people will be able to enjoy it inside the building.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes, thank you, Bennett, for the presentation and for making the small modifications to the signs, and that we are really trying to kind of keep a new standard in that direction. Big fan of this project, have been for a while. The only thing I could say is I wish it had been already completed, but I'm glad we're still moving in that direction and hopefully at a faster pace. I look forward to actually seeing this come to fruition. So I have nothing really more to add that my commissioners haven't already said. Thank you.
And Commissioner Jerome?
Yes, I agree with the statements. I think the improvement in the sign make a big difference to give the project more residential feeling in the context of neighborhood, and I think it's a nice improvement to that corner of the street right behind, relative to what we're existing behind that gas station. Thank you.
And I also agree with the rest of the commissioners and very excited about this project, and it brings a smile to my face every time I look at the signage the way it is now. So thank you so much for putting everything together. So we'll put it out for vote and see if anybody wants to make a motion. Okay.
I move to approve the project as presented.
Okay. And do I hear
Second.
Okay. So moved.
And if I could just clarify, it's a recommendation to the Planning Commission for approval.
Yeah.
I move that we make a recommendation to the Planning Commission for approval.
A second.
Can we have roll call?
Yes. Commissioner Amar?
Aye.
Commissioner Randolph?
Aye.
Commissioner Jerome?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
And Chair Burt?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes 5-0.
Thank you all very much. Much appreciated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, a couple more to go. We're powering through. Appreciate your patience, people. Agenda item number 7.7 has to do with a 25 square foot addition that's a little unique. Wendy, staff report,
Yes.
please.
Thank you, Chair Cormany. This is the design review and landscape review application for a 25 square foot addition to an existing commercial building located at 301 First Street West, otherwise known as the Cooperage. So the project is located just south of where we're located now. With regard to background, back in 2018, the Planning Commission approved an application for a use permit to allow the adaptive reuse of the historic structure. Later in that year, the Design Review Commission approved the design review for the exterior modifications. In 2019, this commission approved design review alterations and a landscape plan for the property. And earlier this year, the city engineer approved a lot merger for the property. At this time, the applicant is proposing to add a 25 square foot wheelchair lift. The lift is proposed to feature an APV coating, Umbria gray in color. The metal railings on the balconies and staircases are proposed to be covered in an APV coating, Never Fade Umbria gray. They're proposing to add exterior lighting in the form of 3 tricot fixtures with custom metal brackets, painted BM blacktop, 3 each BK lighting Art Star bronze satin finish, and 12 BK lighting ring mount Delta Star bronze satin finish. A lighting plan demonstrating the dispersal of light on the ground in compliance with the municipal code was submitted. A landscape plan modifications including relocating the mechanical, electrical, and pool equipment onto the area that was gained with the approval of the lot line adjustment earlier this year, relocate a pool, add an additional tree, plant additional sweet bay shrubs along the northwest portion of the property, and add additional star jasmine vines along the west property line. And this is what the elevator lift would look like. And here's some pictures of the proposed lighting. The landscape modifications, as I mentioned, include relocating the pool, relocating the mechanical equipment, adding some additional landscape. And here's the landscape plan that I'm sure everyone can see very clearly. I'm just joking about that. Water budget calculations were prepared by the landscape architect that demonstrate compliance with the Sonoma Municipal Code. And the calculations indicate that the proposed landscaping would utilize 85% of the associated annual water budget allotment. The proposal is consistent with all development code requirements. There are certain findings this commission must make in order to approve an application for design review, and staff's recommending this commission approve the design review and landscape applications subject to findings and conditions of approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Is the applicant available, either virtually or in person?
That'd be Michael Ross.
Please stand by.
He is virtually, and we'll get him on board here in just a moment. There he is.
There we go.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Can you also allow Sarah Kieser to join? She's the landscape architect from Andrea Cochran's studio.
We will get her on board as well. Just a moment.
Thank you. And once Sarah arrives on the scene, Wendy, if I could share my screen, I have a brief PowerPoint presentation.
Great, go right ahead.
Okay. see here. You should see a title slide, do you?
We don't see it at this
Not
time.
yet, no.
All right, let's escape. I know. Okay.
We see it now.
That's good. Now we'll do this. Do you see it now?
Yes.
All right. Well, as a matter of interest, good evening, everyone, and thank you for your patience in this long agenda. As a matter of interest, I thought we would go back down memory lane on the Cooperage building and just take a look at what's been happening. The project's been under construction now for a couple of years, and we really appreciated the prior approvals on everything that you've reviewed before. The building originally was built, the stone building on the bottom was built in the late 1890s, and it was not built as a cooperage, it was built as an ice house. In 1923, a residence was built on top of it, an apartment, on top of the stone sort of work area down below, and it eventually stopped being an ice house and became a cooperage. And so it was sort of like an original live-work. Live above, work below. And this is what the project looked like when the new owners purchased it. It was heavily damaged by an earthquake that happened like 6 or 7 years ago in Napa. And it was very weak. And so the new owner wanted to adapt it into a residence and a light commercial facility on the ground floor. And the interior of this beautiful space, the historic stone cooperage building, looked like this, but it was still in need of strengthening and stabilization. So what happened next? We stabilized it and put the entire building up on cribbing like this. And then we have inserted a very robust internal steel skeleton that supports the entire building, as well as a structural slab. You can see the rebar there. And this is all complete now. The floor is poured and a lot of infrastructure is being installed. We also virtually rebuilt the historic barn in the back. And what you see there is this beautiful historic open webbed truss roof that is being retained and is part of the ceiling of the guest house. And this is the proposed site plan that you reviewed before. And this is what we're requesting of your review today. 3 things. One, there's landscape design modifications in the strip to the north, this very narrow strip, and Sarah's going to describe those to you momentarily. There is a wheelchair lift that's being inserted into the steel stair structure that is on the west side of the building. And then Turkey Alley, which is this dark green strip of land, which is basically an orphaned parcel that had no owner for over 100 years, that was west of the parcel. And through a legal merger process, it was acquired and added to this property, much to its benefit, because we were running out of space for mechanical and electrical and other infrastructure to run the building. This is basically an overview of the design in 3D. It's basically an ensemble of the historic buildings, and then there's this contemporary stairway insertion that separates the two, that allows the residents to go upstairs and into the apartment, the in-town residence on the second floor. And due to the stairs and the need to improve accessibility, we're proposing to place a wheelchair lift, which is an exterior lift that's going to be inserted into the addition of the stairway system. And so basically, it's going to be located back here. It won't be able to be seen. You saw the photo of it. It's basically designed not unlike this steel stair system that's being added to it. And it's going to be added right here. And so it will not be seen from the street. This is what's happening today. They're starting to erect this contemporary steel structure with the stairway and the upper deck that's separating the historic barn and the Cooperage building. The orange color you see is actually waterproofing and has nothing to do with what the building's going to look like. And from the east elevation from the street, there'll be no evidence of the addition of the wheelchair lift, and but there will be some evidence of the landscape changes, which we'll describe. The materials, colors, and finishes will remain substantially the same, excepting for the color of the gray of the wheelchair lift and the stair framing, which is so like this color right here. It's basically the very same color. It's just a high-performance finish that doesn't fade that we selected for the steel. And with that, I'd like to introduce Sarah Kieser to discuss the proposed landscape design changes. Sarah, if you can unmute. Or maybe you need to mute me.
There's a chat from Sarah. Say I'm unmuted, I believe.
Okay.
Michael, it might be that you need to stop sharing your screen in order for her to speak.
Okay. I will stop sharing. Let's see what happens.
We're working on this. Give us a little minute for technical.
Okay. I see Sarah in the gallery.
We're not
Sarah,
able
can
to
you
see
hear
her
me?
in the list of photos. We can't see her.
I can see her.
Okay.
We can see her. Christina can see her, but we can't.
And now I see her. Yeah, I see her there now.
Okay, there she goes. Welcome. Oh. Still no audio.
If we're unsuccessful in getting Sarah on, I can speak to the design as I understand it, and Sarah can nod her head or say, "No, Michael, you're off base."
You have 2 thumbs up from Sarah.
Okay. Do you see the landscape image again?
We can.
Okay, excellent. So when the windfall of Turkey Alley happened here to the west, that allowed for the swimming pool to be resized and slipped to the west as well. And the pool equipment that was originally located in this area slipped into here. And so there's a mechanical yard that is located here with condenser units for both buildings, pool equipment units, and importantly, battery storage, electrical storage for the PV systems that are on the roof. There's a big commitment on PV power on the part of the owner, and they not only want to generate it, but store it. So all of that happens here. To the west of this is a garage and part of the condo development next door. Then the paving was redesigned to be more consistent with the budget and the design ambitions on the part of Sarah and her team. We brought the paving back underneath the raised porch element and added shrubbery along the north fence line. We created 2 gates to provide a private parking area here, as well as another gate for the third parking, which is on top of like a turf stone paving area, which also includes grasses that grow from it. We created some lower shrubs that are part of the procession as you walk into the residence. The gates open, then you go up the stairs and up. It's largely consistent with what Sarah proposed before. I know now that there is a new tree being added here, as well as some new light fixtures that were proposed in the application that you saw. Basically, it's a long, narrow green strip that has a wonderful sort of integration of textures, colors, greenery, and water. Sarah agrees. Thank you, Sarah. And so that concludes the presentation of this application. I'm available to speak to any questions that you might have. And if there's something specific to Sarah, we can do it through chat. I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And thank you for this opportunity to present.
Thank you. We appreciate it. At this time, I'd like to go to the commission. Are there any questions for the applicant from the commission? Seeing some shaking heads. I'm seeing none. I personally haven't. Can you describe to me how wide the parcel, this Turkey Alley that you acquired, is that?
It was approximately 12 feet wide by the width of the lot, and I think the lot's 50 feet.
So pretty significant.
And it's a very interesting thing. It was, everybody knew it was there. All the neighbors knew it was there. And I believe it's a vestige of an old street trace that was going to go through there. That was going to cut through all of those properties years and years ago, maybe, century ago or more. And that street never happened. And so as people expanded their lots into this trace, this became the last dash of it left. And there was no owner. No one paid property taxes on it ever. And through a title search and some legal work, they were able to acquire it for this property, which is ideal.
It's fascinating. It's a good story. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the public, either in present or online? Doesn't look like we have any. Means we'll bring it back to commission. We'll close the comments to the public and bring it to commission for discussion. Start with Commissioner Randolph online.
Thank you, Chair Carmody. This is such an amazing project, and it's my curiosity about it grows and grows. I walk by it very frequently, and it's been very interesting to watch what's happening. Thank you for your presentation. It's always so complete and informative, and helps us all view what could potentially happen. I understand the elevator and that it will be invisible. It's very attractive even if it was visible, but I bet it will also be appreciated by the people upstairs too, because taking a load of groceries up those stairs all the time is probably going to be a little taxing. The landscape plan looks beautiful, and that is just something else that you wound up getting that piece of land with the great story behind it, and then the ability to extend the landscaping and move the pool over. That's just, that's pretty special. So I am in favor of the application, and I defer to my colleagues.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Cormany. Yes, it's a beautiful project. It has been fun watching it progress as I live a street away and see it quite frequently too. The aesthetics are wonderful with the elevator and again the landscaping is also a beautiful accent to that piece of property. So I love it as submitted.
Commissioner Marr.
I also love the application as submitted, and I just want to say thank you so much for preserving and saving that building with the retrofitting work that you've done, and would have been so much easier to demolish it, but thank you very much. It's much appreciated.
Vice Chair Burt.
I'm very excited about this building. I walk by this building at least 4 times a week on my walks, and just all the time that you have spent and all the detail, and adding that the elevator is a wonderful asset to it, and the landscaping, beautiful. It softens the building as well.
Yes.
So there's it's a beautiful project, and I look forward to getting it finished so we can all enjoy the inside when it's ready.
And I'll finish up with comments. When I first saw an elevator, remind me of another project we had to approve where the elevator was not exactly hidden. So my first response was like, where's it going? And are we going to be able to see it? So the fact that it was basically tucked away and out of sight is pretty impressive, and I think it's a valuable feature to add. It's fascinating to watch this progress of this property. I think we're all in anticipation of seeing it done, and it seems like progress you've made has been fantastic. So very appreciative of the commitment you've made to keeping a piece of history in the town and preserving it. And nice project. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, I'd like to open it up for somebody to submit a motion. Somebody want to take it on?
I propose that we accept this application as submitted with the conditions and the approval of conditions and findings.
Do I have a second? Okay. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Amar?
Aye.
Commissioner Randolph?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
Vice Chair Burt?
Aye.
And Chair Cormany?
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes 5-0.
Thanks. Thanks. Good luck on your project.
Thank you all. We really appreciate it. Sarah, thank you.
2 thumbs up from Sarah. Okay, moving on. We're getting there. This is a project for review. This is item number 7.8, which is 362 East Napa. May I have a staff report, please?
The application before you this evening is design review for 362 East Napa Street. The project lot is long and narrow and extends from East Napa to Nathanson Creek. It's currently developed with a historic 951 square foot house that was constructed in 1919 and a detached garage. A historic resource evaluation was included as part of the packet. It's located in the northeast planning area and is zoned low-density residential and is within the historic overlay district. The required setbacks are a 20-foot front, 5-foot side, and 20-foot rear. The applicant is proposing an expansion, large expansion of the modest 951 square foot house. So the addition is only 1,300 square feet, but compared to the size of the existing house, it seems a good portion larger. There is also a proposed accessory dwelling unit, new detached garage and pool. The addition would be completely away from the front of the house. The whole front facade of the historic residence would be preserved, and it would maintain all required setbacks from Nathanson Creek as well. The ADU would be constructed along the northeast side of the property. Here's the site plan, and the existing residence is on the left side, and Nathanson Creek on the right. Here are the elevations. It's just a one-story addition. The proposed colors and materials would match the existing residence. And the findings for approval. And staff's recommendation is to approve the design review subject to findings and conditions of approval. Are there questions?
Thank you. Appreciate your presentation. Are there questions for staff from the commission at this time? Any online? Seeing none. Is the applicant present? Oh, they're in the room. Would you like to come to the podium, state your name, and give us a little history on your project?
Of course. Good evening. I'm Matthew Sipple. I'm the owner of Salt Shed Design Build. We're a local design build firm, officed on the plaza here in Sonoma. So it's a little bit different being on this side of the dais now. At any rate, before I get started, I really want to very quickly thank you again for your support of Sweetwater Spectrum this evening. It was having served on the board for 6 years and been heavily involved in that project. That meant a lot, your collective approval, so appreciate that. With regard to this project, we were approached, we were introduced to our clients who are here with me, and I'm sure would like to say a few words afterwards. And I know it's late, so I'll keep this brief. I had the opportunity to meet Ray and Diane earlier this year, and I asked them what the scope of work was on the project, and they said, we'd like to do an expansion. And I said, well, what's your intent for the building? They said, we absolutely love the building. We love the integrity of the building, and we want to completely maintain the historical relevance of it. I said, well, that's fantastic. I said, do you think you'll have any variances on the project? And I said, no, we won't. We'll conform to every single zoning standard that there is. And they said, by the way, we've got a good relationship with our neighbors, and we're more than happy to meet with all of them before our design review board meeting, which they've done. We have spent the last 6 months collaborating with the clients on the design and the city staff. And to be quite honest, we're very honored to work on such a high quality project within the city of Sonoma limits. So I'll just kind of leave it at that. We're certainly here for any questions or comments that you may have, and I'm sure Ray and Diane would love to say a couple of words to you as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Hi, my name's Diane Duvall, and I live at 362 East Napa Street.
And I'm Ray Schick, living with Diane at the same residence.
And first I want to thank Ms. Tierney. Thank you so much for your support throughout this and for the report. It was great. And you can see by the picture of the house, when we bought the house 11 years ago, we fell in love with it. It was the charm, the architectural character, the charm, the front porch. And now we really look forward to making the house larger so we can live in it full time and retire here in Sonoma, enjoy this community, and to enjoy our neighbors. And one thing that's really important is to take the charm of the house and really extend it throughout the addition and be very respectful of the colors, the character, the architectural details, materials, and extend that throughout. One thing that is important is, as Matthew said, we have been speaking with all of our neighbors, and we're very pleased that they've been very supportive of what we're proposing. Everything is going to be staying at the same level or below the current height. So we're not asking for any variances. We really want to maintain that character so the house really shines in the front, because it really is an important house, we believe, on the street. And I think one last thing with the ADU, I have an elderly mother, and we have hopes that she'll be able to come and be a part of our family and live in the ADU with us. So that's one reason for the ADU.
Listen, thank you all for staying so late and working so hard for the city, and certainly appreciate everyone's input on the project so far. One of the other things that we just wanted to touch on was, you know, the California craftsman concept is really built around this whole notion of the indoor and outdoor space, and very much around the idea of kind of vernacular sustainable practices in terms of sunlight gain and shading in the appropriate locations. And so the concept as we've extended to the addition is similar to that. So the pitches of the roofs are built in such a way to maximize light into the rooms in the back of the house, but also orient the solar panels, the PV panels on the addition towards the south, where there's a fairly clear opening in terms of the trees to provide sun to power the house. So we're trying to make the house as sustainable as possible. We have all electric systems, so we're not producing any carbon through the use of gas, and we're extending that throughout the entire property. So we're trying to use the photovoltaics really for the electric source for the entire property. So if there's any questions about the overall design or the way we're approaching this, we're happy to answer those.
Thank you, appreciate that. Are there any other public comments or any available online?
Not at this time, thank you.
Seeing none, we'll close the meeting to the public and bring it back to commission. Let's start. How about Vice Chair Burke? We'll start with you.
I love your house. I've always loved your house. And I think what you're doing, you're just enhancing what you already have. I love the fact that you have the detached garage in the back, because I don't like garages in the front. And the ADU, that's a great idea. And you're just carrying on the characteristic, you're just enhancing it. And there's nothing I would change on it. It's a beautiful project. And you know what I'd like to? You guys waited a while. You didn't come in a year later. I mean, you lived in the house and you really thought it out. And that's really the best way to do a design is to experience the house, and that's what you did. And thank you for talking with all your neighbors, because that's so important, and I'm glad that you have the support. So, great project. Thank you.
Okay. And I'm going to ask Commissioner Randolph.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to see what's happening here. I think everyone in Sonoma knows your house. It's iconic in town. We all get to walk by it, and I had no idea it was 967 square feet. I thought it was much bigger. But it is just beautiful. I've been staring at the site plan here, and it's just so interesting. That's going to be so wonderful, the way it inside and outside, and all of the sensitivities around solar use and rainwater collection. And you've got such a beautiful property. I mean, and you're just totally honoring it. So I am delighted to be able to see this, and I'll be knowing what's going on back there when you guys are under construction. Thank you so much for taking care of this house. Thank you.
Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Chair Comey. Yeah, I agree with both commissioners. It's a beautiful, beautiful house, and I love the curb look, and I love that that's always going to stay the same, and you'll have so much interesting, cool stuff going on behind. It's a really great use of the space. The direction you've gone is really, really nice. I like it. I don't see any reason why anybody else wouldn't. And I'm, again, thankful that you do reach out to all the neighbors and got them involved in this process, because that means a lot to us and to the community as well. Thanks.
Commissioner Marr?
Yes, I agree with my fellow commissioners. Most of all, what stood out to me is the work you did getting your neighbors' approval, and that's, I mean, you're the testament to what most folks should do in these situations, and it's just going to make everybody around you enjoy your property just as you will. And also, it's very interesting, all the choices you've made. I really appreciate the sustainability and preserving the house in front, and I have 100% faith that Salt and Shed will just totally make it work. And it's interesting what they're doing is kind of what I think is kind of making a new legacy for Sonoma, something that the future generation will say, oh, look, that's a Salt and Shed home. I think we want to preserve this. So I think that they'll probably be doing both with your property someday. So it's really cool to see both come together. And I can't wait to walk by it and see if I can tell any progress going on in the back or not. But congratulations and good luck.
Yeah, and I too am fond of the facade of this house. I've seen it many times. And reviewing this project, my first response is, oh no, another East Side project with a massive addition. And then I realized the footprint of the house, and I realized, oh, it's not a massive addition, it's a realistic addition. I compliment you on that. I also think it's kind of interesting that you're building a true mother-in-law. That's ADUs. I'm a big believer in ADUs. I think it's a good use of space. And one of the things we're fortunate in Sonoma is we tend to have some long lots where you can do those kind of things. So being able to build a standalone garage ADU, I think is a really nice project. Something I would like to personally, celebrate is that it's all electric homes. That's what I do in my day job. That's a big component of greenhouse gas reduction, electrification, efficiency. That's my world. And I don't often hear people are even aware of all electric homes, so I really support that and really encourage it. It's what we all need to be doing, and we will be doing as we eliminate fossil fuel from our lives. So kudos to you for being on that bandwagon. Appreciate it. Great project. It looks good. I'm very happy to see it. I think you will really enjoy it. So with that, I'd like to open up with somebody work to craft a motion for this, please.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the design, where am I here? To approve the design review application as submitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
You can tell we're getting tired. Great. Okay, we have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Amar.
Aye.
Commissioner Randolph.
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson. Vice Chair Burt.
Aye.
Chair Cormany.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion passes 5-0.
Congratulations on your project. Nicely done. Okay, moving on to our final agenda item, 7.9 this evening. It's 143 West Spain Street. Can we get a staff report, please?
Thank you, everyone, for your patience this evening. I am very excited to present the next project. The Adobe is such a special place in Sonoma. The application before you this evening is design review for a new trellis and outdoor fireplace at 3 Sticks at 143 West Spain Street, just west of the Sonoma Plaza. And you don't need to know all of that. We will just skip ahead. It's a very historic special building in town. There is a historic resource evaluation that was prepared for the project. And in essence, largely due to COVID, the applicant is hoping to better utilize their outdoor space and provide social distancing. And they are proposing a new 10-foot tall trellis that would be 168 square feet. It's very similar to some of the trellises that are there now with some slight structural modifications that are described in the project plans. It'd be located in the northeast corner of the property behind the existing wall and east of the Adobe. Would meet all of the applicable standards and setbacks. And there's no proposed changes to the use of the zoning. Oops. Here's the site plan. And it's just tucked in that upper left corner. And the elevations. And in order to recommend approval, we have our findings. And the staff's recommendation is to approve the design review subject to findings and conditions of approval.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions for staff from the commission? I have one. How do we address a fireplace under a structure, is that a concern?
It'll have to get approved by the fire marshal, and I don't believe it's under it. I think it's to the side, but there are standards in our fire code to address that.
Thank you. Is the applicant available or present online?
They're on Zoom.
They're on Zoom, fine.
You want me to promote Prima?
Yes, please.
Anyone else?
I believe there is Colette there still?
No.
Okay.
Hi, good evening, everybody. It's really great to see you guys. Sorry it's so late. We actually have Steve von Raesfeld, who is our architect for the project, also on to address any questions that you have structurally about it. For me, sorry, I'm just happy to be here and answer any questions for you guys. Really, Christina said it, is that this is a modification based on the way that we're using the outdoor space at this point, and we designed the trellis to look exactly like the trellis that exists currently on the property. For those of you that have been in the sort of garden area, when you walk straight out the adobe to the right, there's one table that's covered by a beautiful trellis. It's woven with willow and has reclaimed wood posts. And so this would mirror that and be on what we refer to as the side garden. There's one table. The way that we use the property is to have individual groups, which is very appropriate now for our day and age with COVID. So this would be basically a cover for that table that's more permanent and more weatherproof. And then, of course, the fire pit would make it more friendly for all times of year. We do have a fire pit on the, gosh, sorry guys, I'm so tired. You guys must be exhausted. We have a fire pit by the other trellis, so there's a sort of a similarity there as well. And yeah, I think I'm sure I had something much more eloquent prepared earlier, but if you have questions for me, I'm here. And Steve von Raesfeld should be on Zoom as well to answer questions regarding the placement of the fire pit and how that will work with the structure.
At this time, we don't see Steve, but I don't know that it's a huge issue.
Yeah, I don't see Steve.
Yeah, are there any?
Oh, okay.
Are there any questions from the commissioner to the applicant? Commissioner Randolph, do you have any questions?
I do not have questions.
Okay, I don't think any of us do. Okay. Are there any public people wishing to make a comment?
No, there is not.
That's going to be easy. Okay, we're going to close the meeting now for the public, and we're going to go back to the commission for discussion. I'll start with Commissioner Marr.
I'm fine with everything. It's great. Beautiful work on the project, and you're good to go on my end.
Thank you.
Commissioner Randolph.
Thank you, Chair Cormany. Three Sticks is just such a labor of love. That thing has just been, I was involved when you guys were working on it originally, and it was so exciting, and it's just continued to give back to the community. I was there earlier this year, and out in the garden back there, it's just fantastic for our new world. I totally 100% in favor of your addition, and thank you for hanging in there all night tonight to get your item heard.
Thank you. I forgot to mention, I don't know if it's okay for me to interject, but we did bring this before the Sonoma League for Historic Preservation. So they've reviewed the project and the trellis and have approved it unanimously as well.
Thank you for that.
Great.
Chair Johnson.
Thank you, Chair Cormany. Yeah, I'd like to echo what Michaelia said. I I've been around since that project started. It's rehabilitation, and I know the painstaking time and care that you put into that, and how beautiful it is. And I know that anything other than what you've already done and plan to do will be just the same. So I appreciate the project, and I look forward to getting over there and seeing it completed.
Fabulous.
Thank you. Vice Chair Burt.
Thank you for staying up so late. Really appreciate it. And,
Thank you guys. My goodness.
You know, there's nothing more that I can say what everybody else has said, and I have no objections at all to the project, and I'm happy that you're going to have some more areas, you know, for your clients. So enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to close with I concur with everything what we've all said before, and it's kind of nice to end on a pretty straightforward one. I don't think this is going to be hard. So with that, would somebody like to propose a motion?
I move that we. Go ahead,
Chris.
Michaela. No, I've done enough tonight. You can.
I move that we approve the application as submitted.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Amar?
Aye.
Commissioner Randolph?
Aye.
Commissioner Johnson?
Aye.
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 Thank you. The motion passes 5-0.
Congratulations and good luck on your project.
Thanks, guys. Nice to see you all.
Nice to meet you too. Okay, that winds down our formal agenda. Are there any other items for discussion? Christina? Anything?
I don't have any.
So you know?
No, the only thing to note is that we should have the draft of the historic train district soon.
Wow,
Yay.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
Are there any issues or updates while we're here?
No issues or updates.
Okay. I have to check my phone now. I'm going to officially, go ahead.
I'm always yakking. I just want to make a comment before we close. This was a really long agenda tonight, but I just want to comment that we saw some amazing projects tonight, and this is why we're doing what we're doing. My heart swells when I see some projects that we've been involved in, and just, you know, now that the horses are gone, it feels so different walking past that space. And I feel like each one of these properties that we look at that are so precious bring a certain spirit to Sonoma. And I feel so grateful to people who are working on things like the cooperage and the beautiful bungalow that we just looked at, and Three Sticks. It's just kind of crazy that people are willing to put that much love and attention into their own homes, and it's also it makes our community what it is. So I just wanted to make that comment because we kind of saw the gamut tonight, and it was really quite interesting.
No, I appreciate that. I agree. It's a pretty special place, and there's some very talented people on lots of ends of the spectrum here. With that, I'd like to formally adjourn the meeting at 9:24. Oh, I love
Woohoo! Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Chair Clemeny, for your leadership.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Good night.
Nighty night.